We know our enemy. We've seen behind the curtain. And they have a weakness. An Achilles heel.
They are arrogant and completely underestimate what they are up against. They forget who the game master is. They forget how wise this old demon can be. So, let's see who among them survives this killing field.
When your timeline reaches its Armageddon, what's a kid to do?
I'm not a...
Snag the keys to your mom's experimental ship, of course.
That's not quite how it happened.
Drift aimlessly in the rift between dimensions, trying to figure out how to operate it.
Now hold on a sec.
Pick up a few hitchhikers.
Hi!
Hello.
And maybe solve a disturbing mystery that could lead to the destruction of reality itself.
You know, if there's time...
There's always time.
I'm not so sure about that.
Get in on the adventure with the Rift Riders on Indiegogo.
What a crowd! What a crowd! And talk about a crowd.
Yeah.
Look at that panel. My gosh. We have got a few people here hanging out with us today. And, yeah. Nick, man, what's up, dude?
Hey, it's been a while. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. We were worried about Xander last week. I know he wasn't feeling so well. And is he
I'm
doing
sorry
better?
about that. His fever broke like late last night, early this morning. He's been sick this whole time.
Wow.
So it's just been.
Yeah, and you're up there in the land of frozen tundra. So
Oh
it
yeah,
doesn't help.
It's
It
not
doesn't
bad. This isn't bad right now. It's only in like the 40s or 37. We're balmy. There's no white stuff.
Yeah,
I got no complaints.
that's balmy. That Glenn is he's been complaining about the weather already.
Minus
Glenn would
4.
never complain about anything. That's not. Don't slander him like that.
Glenn would never complain.
I never complain.
You know what I love about
Right.
this panel? We do what. So here's what I've learned: white men, when they hit about 40, they get really, really good at doing one thing, and that's complaining about stuff, being grumpy. Yeah. So
Listen. Just because you're grumpy and you complain doesn't mean you're wrong.
And folks,
Bingo.
that's the
Bingo.
time-honored, positive, uplifting message that you've come to Nerd Bacon to get your morning started
It's
with.
the same kind of
Yes.
thing that if you go out in the car for more than 1 minute and you don't cuss and shake your fist at somebody, you're not paying attention.
See, the problem is you live near too many people. If you can go out and there aren't a lot of people, that very rarely is there a problem.
No, well, you see, if I didn't live near anybody, I'd complain to the trees.
I'm
Yeah, but they're
certain.
not usually
I'm
in the
certain
road.
that would happen.
Oh,
So,
they are in the road. They are in the road.
I went to this little town called Washington, Indiana, and so we were hanging out there, and there, someone's like, "Yeah, traffic's bad out today," and I was like, I heard someone it was at the gas station. They're talking about traffic was pretty bad today, and I'm like, that's not right. That's not true. It is not bad today. Yeah, I think they have all of 100 people that live there, and
And they all-
maybe
About
all
where I
100 were
live,
out.
where the golf cart traffic maybe it's the golf carts and the farm implements that really cause you problems.
Oh no,
You
I will say I have driven through the country and gotten stuck behind one of those giant tractor things going down the road at the speed of evolution. And
Them
my
tractor
gosh.
things. Yeah.
yeah, man, I'll tell you, yeah, that'll get you, that'll grind your gears, that'll burn your toast. That'll get you going. Yeah. So yeah. So Nick, you're doing pretty good then.
No,
Everything's-
I'm doing very good. I've been very busy working on projects, and we've got stuff lined up that's coming down the pipe. I'm looking forward to. Some I can talk about, some I can't quite yet. But isn't that the way it is? Now,
Yeah.
as dashing and attractive as you are, Luke, and
Yeah,
as
right,
better shaded as I am with my
I'll take that.
natural face for radio, we have to be better guests, I think, and better hosts, that is, and interrupt and talk about these lovely people in our chat. And
Yeah.
Glenn, hi Glenn. No, I
And Glenn, he's lovely. Our lovely panelist, yeah.
No,
So,
we're not only joined by Randy, of Arrow Comics fame, and basically the king of the Mitten of Michigan.
The Mitten, King Mitten.
And we
I don't know. I was working on something. It didn't land, guys. I apologize.
You tried. That
Not
joke
gonna work.
was weighed,
Not
it
gonna
was
work.
measured,
Good
and it
try.
was sound lacking, and that is okay. Because, we're only a few minutes into the broadcast, and it takes a while to build up the gestalt, to get these lovely people thinking, good God, why do we pay an entry fee?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you, it will be worth every cent of entry fee that Luke charged you to be on the show.
Yeah. I'm drinking mom fuel today. I don't know if you can see that cup. It says mom fuel.
Rosé?
It's a
Anyway,
it's a cauldron of coffee. That'll get us going. Oh
you
yes.
enjoy that coffee.
Yes, let's welcome our guest this morning. We have Hades, which
Yes.
I've been calling him Hayden's, okay? But it turns out that is his name. But someone misspelled it and dropped the N, and then it became a running joke that he was Hades. And so he's just embraced it. And
Yeah, exactly.
I messed with him this morning. I was like, yeah, I said, well, Hades, you look like hell today. Dad joke,
And he's
but
right.
I said,
I'm gonna show my age here, but Hades reminds me of Roy Wood out of Wizard.
Oh no, thanks.
mm,
We're in the right season for one of his songs as well, so that's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His only song, I think.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
It only makes him about 5 million a year.
Only.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
if I'm-
poor suffering man. Did he
Right.
set up a GoFundMe for him? Dear Lord.
I knew this guy. His whole goal in life was to write a one-hit wonder. He just wanted to hit one hit because he knew that he could live comfortably off the royalties of one hit.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm just trying to write that one hit. I want to be a one-hit wonder. And I don't think he ever got it. But because I can't remember his name, and
You probably
hasn't
would
talked
if
about
he
it,
had
so.
done something, or at least
Right,
you
yeah.
remember the song.
if it had gotten a hit, yeah. So he didn't make it. Poor guy didn't make it. But yeah. But Hades and Lori have more than one hit.
Yeah,
We'll talk about their company
I
later
was
today.
looking into them. They have all sorts of titles and stuff. That's why I'm like,
Folks, in the industry, that's what we call a segue. So Hades and Lori are with a company called ASAP Imagination. And they started during the pandemic. And it started out as just one guy trying to make a comic book. And now it's turned into this whole mess of people making a whole mess of comics. And we're going to look at what they're doing today because it's some pretty cool stuff. Lori reached out to me. He's like, hey, I think we want to be on Nerd Bacon. And I'm like, hey, I think you should be on Nerd Bacon. Nerd Bacon is a bunch of fun and nerd tomfoolery. It's great. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to get to know you guys a little bit. But let us know how you doing this. Hades, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm very well, thank you.
Is this what happens when I'm away for a little bit? You just come on frazzled.
The caffeine's not flowing yet. We'll get there.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he needs more of his mom fuel.
It's a
Yeah.
crowd. And
We got another Brit here. We got somebody else from the UK. Well, I don't know if
Yeah,
you're a
that's
Brit,
right.
but you're from the UK.
I'm from an Irish family, but yes, I was born over here. But yeah,
Well, I mean, we couldn't tell.
yeah. But no, my family come from Tala in Dublin. So I'm, as a few of my friends call me, I'm a nice hybrid because Irish complexion, British voice. So I'm okay with it. But my family from Tala and kind of the Birmingham way, and it's for me, all of this, like I said, well, like you kindly said as well, it all started in the pandemic and it's just snowballed. It's been an interesting couple of years. I've gone from a suit and tie man in a day job to this.
So you upgraded. So you definitely
absolutely.
upgraded. Yeah.
You've got to dye your beard red and blue and green and.
Yeah, it's slowly going grey. It's slowly going grey. Yeah,
comics will do that to you.
Oh no, I am actually a man in my 40s as well. So I am of the age where I do kind of go, is it scarf weather just yet? And then I'll complain that it is, and I forgot my scarf. So yeah, I am in that bracket.
You know what? It's so much fun in that bracket, isn't it? Like, I love it. I mean, it's like, what are you complaining about today? Does it matter? I'm just going to complain
Lori,
about
can I
something.
apologize that this is such a wildly vulgar sausage fest over here? I mean, we've got 540 plus dudes grumbling, and a lovely lady like, oh God, help me. Okay.
It's fun. I'm also in the grumpy 40-year-old man. Beard's coming in.
Yeah, the
Same
beard's
bracket,
coming in nice,
same
Lori.
bracket.
Yeah.
It's
Now-
2022. You can literally be whatever you want to be these days.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How dare you assume her identity, Nick? Called her a lovely lady. How dare you? So I'm sure we're gonna.
Yeah, she's not
hey,
lovely.
everybody,
Come on now.
I'm not lovely.
join me at 3
Just
o'clock
hold
today.
on.
Join me at 3 o'clock today for the canceling of Nick. Okay, we're let's synchronize our watches for that. I joke, Nick. I would never cancel you.
Oh no, it has been tried before.
And they failed. Nick is
You've been amazed how
uncancelable.
offensive civility can be. But and how
Anyway,
civil
Lori.
it can be. But the trick. So what do you guys all create? Because I know what Glenn does. Glenn does Hatch. And that's
Wait, we haven't met Lori yet. Lori, where are you from?
I'm in Canada. I actually am
Oh.
where it's all super, very cold and snowy and stuff right now. So
That's why I wasn't complaining.
Yeah, you can't complain around me. I'm basically like living up in the north here. Me and Santa and the elves.
It's in the low 60s here right now.
I don't
Moving
even
up to
know
about
Fahrenheit.
83.
We're like minus 20. I know like at some point they line up. The Fahrenheit and Celsius line up, but I don't know that conversion.
That is scarf weather.
That is scarf weather.
Yeah,
How does
what is
anyone
scarf?
survive in that? I don't even know.
You stay inside.
You choose to live there. That's
Yeah.
the thing. You choose to live
Or you
there.
just like can't leave because there's too much snow to wade through. One of those.
Can't get away. Can't get out.
Now, Lori, are you an artist or a writer or both? Or
Mainly a writer. I kind of dabble in art, but not sequentially. It's more just kind of drawing for fun. Like I think that I want to kind of draw a little bit more, but busyness and kind of got to choose your priorities and your hobbies, right? So
I understand that.
Look,
yeah.
how dare you assume that Laurie is an artist and a writer? She might be something else. How dare you assume that?
Well, I mean, she
And-
is involved with the comic
Listen,
book.
Well,
real
research.
time, that's -4 degrees.
You see what I did there, Nick? He doesn't like that.
Yeah, everyone, okay, so we're canceling Nick at 3. I'll take 320, okay? Cancel me at 320.
All I did is the math for the difference in temperature. It's like, no, I don't mind being canceled because that happens. I mean, my God. But I
Yeah.
would like to.
Hey,
I was
listen,
doing math.
listen. Everybody gets to get canceled, okay? Just wait your turn.
Wow. Okay.
That's the
over
whole thing with cancel
cancellation.
culture.
Look under
That's
your
the
seat, everyone. You get canceled.
You
and
get
you
canceled.
get canceled.
You
and
get
you
canceled.
get.
Everybody gets
People think
canceled.
We're insane, Luke. I mean, they'll be right. The trick is to make them stay on for the first half hour, so that they're invested before they realize what a completely.
Once they
wild
they're like
avenue
I have been here for too long to back out. That's where we gotta go.
Yeah, you know.
All right.
You
Well, guys,
gotta
we're gonna
get
talk more about
whatever
your
flavor of
projects.
television program they'd be watching.
You know, we're gonna talk more about your projects. We're gonna go welcome the chat because this show would be nothing without our chat. So we got Mad Ruth. Mad Ruth had popped in for a minute in the back room. Feel free to use that link and come back in. Hang out with us. It's gonna be a doozy, folks. We got Mad Ruth in the chat. We got Genuine Comics. That is Mr. Dave Brink. Perfect 10. Welcome, Dave. Nice to have you here today. My sister's in the house. Welcome. We've got Phantasmagorical. I love saying that name. That is it just
I love how you
rolls
just
off the
blast
tongue.
past your sister.
I didn't blast past her. I welcomed her.
You brought the
And then-
picture up and then brought it down and immediately went to Fanta.
I'm just trying to get to it, yeah, because I want to say Phantasmagorical. Yeah, I can't wait
I
to say
understand. Fanta's
Phantasmagorical.
awesome, boss.
Phantasmagorical is here. We got Marv V, the Sin Killer. Welcome. It's good to have you here today. Tank Ferret is in the house. Ahoy, all you sagacious. I can never say that word. It always. I know, but it's like saying judicial system. You sound
I
drunk
get
when you
you.
say it, right?
I can't say digital.
Digital. My
Digital.
dad couldn't say album. He would say album, and he couldn't say aluminum, and he couldn't say cinnamon.
But
So,
it's aluminium. It's not
That's
aluminum.
aluminium.
It's
That's what they
aluminium.
make
Yeah,
torches
whatever.
out of.
Yeah, you know what? Enough of that madness. Who else do we got here? We got Facebook user. Welcome, Facebook user. Feel free to head on over to our YouTube channel, Luke Stone Studios, over there on the YouTubes, so that we can see who you are. We got Hojo in the house this morning. Welcome, Hojo. It's good to have you here today. Hojo's working on a couple of really cool things. He's got a book called The Mythicals, which looks really great, and he's doing Kozar, the son of Tarzan, or Kozak, or Korak.
Korak.
Yeah, I'll get there eventually, guys. Trust me.
Yeah.
I just stumble around in the dark until I finally hit the right spot.
Oh, where's that video?
Wait a second.
That's what she said.
Sometimes I have to. I did not intend to, but sometimes I have to calm
How is
myself
Corey
out.
doing?
Corey?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's doing good. My daughter?
Yeah, that's the result of hitting the right spot.
Damn,
So I wanted to.
Oh, God.
Saw your shirt. Wanted
Nick! All right. Anyway.
What? I've already got a schedule.
This is Luke blushing. Yeah. We got Frog G here today, the Link Master, and trust me, we have lots of links that we need to be filling out today. So thank you, Frog G, for being here. Let me see who else are we welcoming. We got a lot of talking back and forth. I love it when everybody's talking. Oh, one more to add to the panel. We've got Buddy Lord, the Velociraptor, in the house.
I'm strong, holding up the group. Ah.
like Hulk.
With your tiny little hands.
Very good. With your tiny little hands, your giant head and tiny little hands. All right, man. It's man. This is gonna be a fun day. So, today's topic is I kind of clickbaited the title a little bit because well, that's what we do on
Not
YouTube.
you.
No, not me. Why would I wouldn't do that, right?
It's too, Luke.
So it's true. I did it. Yeah. So anyway.
And he's not sorry.
I'm not sorry. I'm not even
And
apologizing.
he'll do it again.
It's not like them Canadians like Lori that apologize for being sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Ooh, man, I don't want to hear about Canadian benevolence after Maid.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, God.
I'm learning that that's not always true. That the Canadian benevolence is not exactly accurate. That it is. Because I've met a few Canadians.
Not a gross, overarching stereotype.
No. Because honestly,
I'm
the
having a
majority of the
hard
Canadians
time
I've
dealing
met.
with life. It's really tough. I don't have the coping mechanisms in order to facilitate a benevolent and beneficial experience. Have you ever thought of dying?
Yeah.
On purpose?
Let's just stop right there because I think we're going to take the show to a much darker.
Oh, we're talking red
place
flags. Red flags and me in comics is a dark experience anyway.
It is, buddy.
Oh.
So someone asked the question the other day. Said, how much have you learned in your time in comics? And Buddy's getting ready to type. He's like, I got this. And he goes, since you've put out your first book. And he's like, and yeah. Buddy has been on a journey trying to get his first book out for 2 years.
Jeez, Luke.
2 years.
Man, Luke hit Buddy like a meteor. Just extinction event right
Yep.
there.
Mhm. No, Buddy knows all about
Lord,
this.
man.
Trust me, I'm in Buddy's corner. On this.
Okay.
Because the problems
just
he's
checking,
facing,
'cause-
the problems he is facing is not his fault. Not his fault.
Now, I do like to advise newcomers. There's a temptation to sit back and go, "Oh my God!" Never be afraid to throw a verbal elbow in here or crack whatever joke goes across your mind, and you smirk. And you're like, "Should I say that?" As long as it's not excessively vulgar, we have you here.
If the question is, should I say that? The answer is yes.
I feel like Lori should have come in as Persephone. You know, Hades and Persephone. Just for
That is true.
That would have been fun, yeah.
Missed a big opportunity. Or like Zeus. Poseidon.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
like
you're
trident.
separated. That's why it's so dang cold. But no, wait.
Yeah, so
Anyway.
our conversation today is going to revolve around creating collaborations in comic books in this medium and doing different things for that. How to build better collaborations based on, or networks that you use based on what you've learned. You know, the red flags and all the good things too. But this is more than just people. It does include people, but it also includes services like crowdfunding, places to sell digital, printers that you would use, you know, all these different kind of publishing services. You know, there's all kinds of things that are out there. And so we're gonna talk about that a little bit from the experience of the panel, because we've got quite a bit of experience from here between Randy and Glenn, who've been doing comics for, well, as long as I've been alive.
Longer than most of you have been alive.
Yeah,
Well,
honestly.
I am really proud of the collab they did for Og to celebrate his invention of the wheel, where they tinked it out on there's some cave paintings you can find in Thunder Bay, Canada. If you hang off a cliff,
That Glenn and Randy did. Nick keeps freezing, so like his
and
joke's
if you
not
look
landing
real
as
small,
hard as it could.
Timing. Yeah.
Timing. It's all about timing.
Oh, it's my net.
Yeah, your net's kind of.
Yes, it is.
You're roboting
Yes,
real
it
bad
is.
on us.
Yeah, it sounds like you got hiccups, man.
Cave painting.
Hold on.
I think Colorado.
Yeah.
Or Canada. I don't know.
Some great collaborations. Yeah,
Something
and then we've got. Yep, and then we've been at it a while here, and then we've got people who've just been at it for a couple of years, and so we have a vast array of what do they call that? A control. Our control is we've got a lot of experience here to talk about that. Yeah, and then finally, what we want to do today is offer some encouragement. That's where the "and your dream is too small." That's what I'm noticing about a lot of creators. They want to be real conservative with where their dreams are, and I'm here to tell you that you need to you need to dream bigger, like our friend Shia LaBeouf says.
Do it! Just do it!
I mean, if that doesn't get you to do it, I don't know what will.
Was the it?
I think we all got to be like Lori's cup. Hold it up.
Bipolar Express mug. Believe.
Believe in yourselves. You can do it.
I think the thing I learned the most was if you can, do it yourself. On my comics, I do everything on it. I do the lettering, the drawing, the colouring, everything. Back in the 80s, when I was publishing a line of comics, even the printer let me down. A friend who was working on the comic with us, his dad was the printer, and his dad said he'd print the comic for nothing, which is obviously brilliant. So all these boxes arrive at my house, open them, and he printed it in blue because he was doing it for nothing. He tagged it on the end of a job that was on just blue, so it was all printed in blue. So I was a bit pissed off about that because I wanted it to be in black, but I couldn't complain because it was free. So don't go down that route. If check it really well. But like I said before, I write and draw and colour, letter. I do all my own stuff, and I've been let down people in the past. So I think, well, if you let yourself down, you let yourself down. But to me, it's best not to get involved as much as you can.
Now there are times that we, there's times that we have to.
Oh yeah, of course.
We have to hire those things out.
If you can, what I'm saying is, if you can do it, do it.
Yeah. So for those that can't, we've got a few artists here: Glenn, Randy, myself, Nick is becoming.
Thank you.
Very, 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 very soon he's going to be a prolific artist. Hades, you're an artist, right?
No, I'm just a writer. I'm a writer. Yeah.
Don't say just.
You're a writer. Don't say just.
Just a writer. Yeah.
I'm just a writer. All I do is create everything for those overpaid laborers called artists to illustrate. That's it.
Oh, buddy, it seems like you're breaking up. Are you holding on okay there, bud? Because I've seen occasionally people get bumped off when they get along that line.
Yeah, he's getting real close to getting lost in the. But anyway, so like you guys got to hire an artist. So, when it comes to collaborating with an artist, what are some of the things that you've learned to look for? Because I'm sure there's someone watching that's probably written a script, they're writing something, they want to do a comic book, they can't draw, and they're wanting to find an artist to get them to help bring their thoughts, their ideas to life. What is the first step for you? Like, what have you found to be the first step for finding a good collaboration?
For us, it was just network first. I'd met an artist organically just from a comic book shop, but and he was the artist on our flagship comic. But then once I started to hit more on social media, you build relationships first, and then you find these kind of shared loves, these shared passions, whether it be a time in comics, whether it be a certain artist or an art style. And for us, we got so lucky with some of the people because we also want to do stuff with like a sense of fun. So it's the person's personality as well. Their art style might be different to what we'd originally envisioned, but if the collaboration, if there's that sense of fun, if there's that sense of what they add into the script that we give them. I love it. I love stuff like that. And again, we were very lucky in how we came about people. You know, I do put a lot of this down to just timing, luck, you know, and so on and so forth. But one of the artists that we took on, I just loved his style originally because it got that kind of Mike Mignola vibe to it, and his color palette was beautiful. And so I reached out to him to do one of our titles, and now, you know, we have collaborated on more and more stuff, and he's done more things within kind of our shared universe. And he's brought more writers. Artists. He suggested people to us, and then we have a chat. And if the kind of the vibe is right, after I've seen the portfolio, then it's kind of, you know, conditions are perfect for me. That's the way I work.
You know, I think I have found that the portfolio only goes so far with the people I choose to collaborate with. A lot of it is personality. Can I get along with them? And do they deliver? Like, I vet people pretty rigidly before I use them. I'll have them do, whether I'm hiring for an artist or a colorist or even a writer, I'll hire a writer to, you know, take my outline for 6 pages and script it out for me. And if they can follow my outline, you know, then, you know, we'll see if they can deliver, if it shows up on time, how does that creative, you know, do they add anything that I couldn't add myself just in scripting or whatever. When it comes to art, you know, you try to see how that works, but you try them out with little chunks of things. You don't just sign them up because you like their artwork on these big projects. But a lot of it has always come down to personality with these people. Like, do I even like them? Like, there was a guy that wanted me to do art for his book, and I told him, it's like, look, we don't like each other. And I know at some point during this creative process, it gets pretty, you have to have a free exchange of words, whether they're good words or not. You have to be like, hey, this is not working. And you can't be married, especially with, like, when you're working with a writer. Sometimes that writer can't be married to that script as it is, because sometimes what they've written is not, it can't visually be communicated in a page. It might take 2 or 3 pages to visually, you know, it's like, oh, well, in this panel, he's doing this, this, and this. Well, he can't do all 3 of those things, okay? It's not a movie. It's not a TV show. You got to choose an action that we can communicate visually through sequential storytelling. If you want those 3 actions, that's at least 3 panels, if not more, right? It's like, so, you know, sometimes you have to kind of work through those things. And if you don't have a personality that gels, then the collaboration is going to fall apart really, really quickly. That's what I've learned. Yeah, personality is big. One of the things that I know, and I think Buddy can back this up, is, I mean, once you've seen a portfolio and some of the images are good, I'm learning that sometimes people put their best foot forward in their portfolio, and when it really comes rubber meets the road, some of their work just doesn't add up. Like, I've had that with colorists. They've showed their work, and it's like, wow, this is amazing. And then when they actually color your pages, yeah, not so much.
Well, it's kind of like I think everybody's artistic expression, whether you be a writer or an illustrator, is like a language. It's a singular language, you know? And sometimes it's like, you know, if I want to say French, you say, oh, parlez-vous français? L'addition, s'il vous plaît. But do I speak French? No. But I can say those words.
Como estás? Muy bien, gracias.
You know what I mean?
Chili con queso.
And I think it's the same sort of thing.
Muy caliente.
They get so good at that singular language, they can present that to make it look like they know the whole thing. But they don't really. They just know the alphabet.
Ask them to draw hands. I hate to say it with the
draw a foot for me.
So much AI running around, and I'm already seeing people claiming to be, hold on,
artists, yeah. So I had a guy
that, you know, are clearly using AI to facilitate. Ask them to draw a lot of hands. I mean, we almost need, you know, a CAPTCHA for draw a hand so we know you're not a robot.
I had a it was an artist. I'll just say an artist that they I had hired to do a book cover, so it needed to be oriented as a book cover, and I wanted it to be painted, and I said it just needs to be generic kind of characters, so I give some examples, and I said just do this, whatever. They came back and they had Ghost Rider on the cover, and I said that's not a generic character, that's a copyrighted IP, I can't use that on the cover. And I said, and furthermore, you Googled that image and you photo bashed this whole thing. Like, none of this is your work. And they're like, oh, well, it's going to be more money for me to actually paint it and do it. And I'm like, no, that's not, no. That's, so.
We call that bait and switch.
Cheat? Yeah. Yeah, bait and switch, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what that was. And so, but, instead of having that person work on a whole project, let's put them on a cover. I need the cover. It's not inconsequential. I really need it. But let's try them out. If they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. And you'd be surprised how many people out there actually don't know how to do the art or to do the colors that they've presented to you. And maybe they've actually grabbed that work from somebody else and they're presenting it as their own. But you've got to vet them. You've got to vet through those, through all of those things.
We've always done, when we've had brought a new artist on, I always ask, for their version of the character and so on and so forth. And I ask for it in the stages as well. So I want to see the sketch, and then I want to see the, the inks and so on and so forth. And it was always good because it was, for us, it was like a double whammy, because it was something where we could say we vetted them. We've got to build a relationship with them, but then we can also use that image and just say, this artist, on our social media, this artist is coming soon with us on this title. So it was kind of useful for more than one thing for us.
Absolutely.
And again, because some of the artists that we've met have been recommendations of, because again, the one artist, Matteo, his name is, he sends me a spreadsheet. I will have this done by this date, this done by this date, this done by this date, finish. And he'll give me exact dates. And up till now, touch wood, he's always been before his end date. He's always been.
There you go.
So
that's important too. That's important too.
Yeah, very much.
So,
well, we're putting out one a month at the minute, so it's like huge for us because we need to make sure that everything's kind of ticking over.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't seem to, I don't know, some people don't seem to get, is that when you give me as because if I'm the writer, I'm basically the project manager and producer of the project, as it's going, especially, in a crowd-funded atmosphere, right? And when you give me deadlines, when we agree on something and you're like, yeah, I'll have this much done by this time, I make agreements and arrangements based on that. And then when you don't meet those previous premises, there's, the contradiction is mine. I'm the one who looks like crap. I'm the one who takes that.
Oh yeah, I've got a great colorist that he does fantastic work, but he never meets a deadline. Never meets a deadline. Guess how many jobs he works on? 0 jobs. 0 jobs.
I would put him on stuff that's like, I need this in a year.
No, I tell him I need him in 6 months, that way I can get it in a year.
Speaking of deadlines,
it's like my dad talking to my sister when I was growing up. He'd be like, "Yeah, be ready in an hour," or he's like, "Be ready at 7," and it's like 5, And I'm like, "But you don't need to leave till 8." And he's like, "Yeah, but if I tell her that, she'll be ready on time."
Speaking of deadlines, I've got to bail now because I got my own podcast in 10 minutes. Lovely to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Nice having you today, Glenn.
Am I the only one who thought he said pubcast? I imagined him with a stein in his hand. I'm just saying.
I'll see you later.
I'm sure you would enjoy that.
I'll see you tomorrow, Randy.
Yep. See you then.
See you later.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Glenn is a great guy. Check out his stuff on Amazon.
Get in some trouble.
Yeah, check out his stuff on Amazon. He's a great writer illustrator. Published a bunch of books and does a quarterly. Is it a quarterly?
Yes.
Magazine that Randy has contributed to.
Yeah. Comics Unlimited.
So Randy, let me ask. So I know you hire artists to do work that you write, and you work on art that other people have written.
Yeah, I have in the past. I don't do a lot of other people's writing. I mean, at the moment, but
you don't take on their work.
No,
like I do, where I take on right now. I'm taking on a few different people's like they've written and they want me to be their artist, and so I
not inside the direct market. At least I do have a couple of outside clients I do sequentials for that are for advertising or for educational purposes.
Right. So in that process, so you've been kind of on all sides of this of this collaborative scenario. What are some of the things that you look for when either looking for someone to collaborate with you, or in who you choose to collaborate with when they're seeking you out?
Really, it's real simple. They have to be good, and you have to get along with them. It's that simple. I mean, they're very the people you want to work with are the people that excite you, and to do better work with. It's like a synergy, like a marriage.
Yeah.
So you're feeding off of one another. If you can get the person that you've hired in excited about what they're doing, or get them to take hard pride in their work, you're going to get the best work from them. Yeah. You know, it's just common sense, really.
So
and you do have to get along with them. So yeah, there is.
Yeah, but definitely a theme. Getting along with them, and
you really have to get along with them. Yeah.
The good work and the personality go hand in hand. Now there was something else that was said. Hades, you mentioned that an artist would suggest someone else to work with, word of mouth.
Yeah.
Here's one of the things that I don't think that we are considering enough, and I don't think enough people out there consider enough, is word of mouth. I have collaborated with a couple of people, and those collaborations fell apart. But I was warned about working with those people. I chose to work with them anyway. Nick warned me. Randy warned me. Martin Piero, another respected publisher here in the Florida area, warned me. He's like, "Hey, why are you working with that guy?" And I'm like, I'm this guy, you know. I come from a ministry background, so I want to give. Maybe they've changed. Maybe they've turned a new leaf. I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But when it really comes down to it, in my experience, this is what I've learned. If someone is telling you that they had a bad working experience with someone, that probably is not isolated, number one. And number two, they have not changed. I do believe that there could be supernatural change in people's lives based on my faith. But for the most part, people don't change. They're the same, you know, unless they've got to prove a new track record of change. Now, if they had an incident, 20 years ago, and everyone since then's be like, yeah, what they're hardworking, they're easy to get along with, and they produce work on time. Okay, then I'll take a chance on them. But really, word of mouth goes a long way. For example, we've got The Fool is coming out, a book that Randy did with Arrow Comics, coming out next year, and we needed a colorist for it. Well, guess who I suggested? The guy that's been coloring all of my work for the last 8 years, So this guy, he gets on it, and what does he do? He freaking kills it right away, doesn't he, Randy?
Knocks it right out of the park. Yeah.
Yeah, right out of the park. First go, not a problem. But that kind of reputation spreads.
It's been a long time that I've spent a lot of time looking, just studying the work on the board, and going, oh, look at that light there. Oh, that turned out really good. I see what he did here to get this.
24 Eyes.
And, oh, that's
welcome
awesome.
Agent Zero. Welcome Fizzard. Yeah, so we got Fizzard, Agent Zeros, and 24 Eyes with us again today. Thanks, guys, for joining us. So when you see the work, so the work speaks for itself. Like when that's good quality stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a colorist that I'm working with on a project right now that, quite honestly, I don't know that I'm going to work with them on another one. They're like a real diva about things, and kind of being a real. They're not real easy to work with. It's kind of problematic.
One thing that I think needs to get addressed, and part of it is I put this nicely. Occasionally, your faith-based ministry habits rise up to bite you in your derriere. like a pit bull. That's believe it or not, that's why he keeps me around. Because like I'm
Are you saying Luke is like that meme, you know, where the shy little person going, "I can fix them"?
Yeah, I think. I have.
Nick's like,
I
yes,
have
yes.
I have an innocent hope in my heart that anyone can be better.
Everybody
I
has
really do.
their naive moments.
My
You know what
background would be
I just live mine every day.
broader publicly if I hadn't had so many people, because I used to be like Luke, absolutely shaft me. I mean, I did full concept art for independent video games. I did all this stuff, and I got ripped off a whole bunch very early on. Not for money, because you can't get blood from a stone. I'm too poor to rip off for money. But, you know, do a whole bunch of work, and then either someone would flip it, trace it badly, call it their own, or, you know, just flat out steal it. I have a lot of issues going on. So I have some policies that, you know, I have to talk to Luke sometimes about, like, you know, yes, I know that might be your friend. That might be the best person in the world. They're a great person. I love them. I'm not saying I don't love them, but
do not get into a
not
business
the
arrangement with
job,
them.
they don't get the job.
Yeah.
And
So
a lot of it comes down to priority, because what I have found from working with friends, I don't mind making friends I've worked with, but when you work with friends, there's a hazard. And the hazard I find is because you're their friend or you're a nice guy, you know, people will try to take advantage, or they will not prioritize your work. So what you end up in some cases is, you know, you do your part, and their part would be something that they could do in a day or a week. Hey, Pedro.
Welcome, Pedro.
Hey.
And instead they're like, well, we're going to put this because Nick can wait, because Nick will wait. And that used to be me. You know, Nick's stuff can wait. I get a project. I go, this is my project. I'm doing my project. When I'm done with my project, I'll do the next project. You know? Unless somebody can throw a vast sum of money. And that's the mentality you want to find, is somebody who values your input and then works on it and doesn't just... Now, sometimes things are going to come up. Real life comes up.
Sometimes people take a nap. Yeah.
But
sometimes people spend 5 months in the hospital.
Yeah. Sometimes you work with folks and they'll just, okay, we're doing this, but I need to do this, and you get bumped back. You better be they really better, your project better really matter, or it's like, bam. And the other thing is, I believe in test projects like Luke with covers. You know, I'm going to work with you in this aspect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm going to use Luke because people know we have a good relationship. So there's no hazard, and I won't put somebody on blast who doesn't truly deserve it. You know, but if I say if I say something negative about working with somebody, or they fail my vibe check, that's a huge deal, because I don't believe in putting out negativity about people unless it's absolutely necessary.
I wish there was an algorithm for a vibe check.
Critical
But you guys watching,
failure.
you guys know what we're talking about. That's watching, you know the vibe check. Yeah.
Luke is involved in Luke is running this amazing comic thing that's coming out of obscurity, and
Very
I
good,
have a small entry that I sent it to him, and he's doing the art for it, and it'll get done as part of that project, and I know it. I can trust that. Now, if I send it to him, he's like, well, yeah, I'll have it done now. And a deadline moves twice. I will complete any contract I have, but then you will not get another one with me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a contract guy. And that's the one thing we haven't said in this whole conversation.
I was getting to that. Contract.
Get it in writing and get it in public. You know, a lot of people, they make fun of me because I'll be doing one of my other shows, and somebody will be popping up, hey, Nick, I need a drawing. Cool. You like what I do? I'll draw something for you. You want to go offline? No, we'll do it right here. What? Yeah, hold on. It'll be this much by then. Sound good? Yeah, cool. And Why are you doing your business open in front of everyone on the internet? That means if I screw up, everybody knows I screwed up.
Visible.
If they screw up, everybody knows they screwed up.
Public record. Oh.
But there's no. It's like, you want to see it? Go check the video. I'm not gonna. I don't want to have to defend myself because I've had too many he said, she said, BS things in different, real world business. Not real world business doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. Major employment things where it turned out to be he said, she said, and all these games. So I don't play that, and if that sounds merciless, remember, yes, we love comic books. Yes, comic books are fun. But
The Fizzard says, I too know what a vibe check is. I too
and I
am
hate
hip.
to put it that way because I love the exuberance and the high energy, and I live for that. But guys, don't ever let somebody say I'm just a writer. You're just a writer. You're just the artist. You're just the colorist. You are a person doing a job.
Well, some people aren't people doing jobs. Some people are people not doing jobs.
I bet they
Right,
don't
buddy?
deserve more jobs. My buddy Neil is a really goofy guy. I love him dearly. His name's Neil Litherland. He writes way too much. He signs everything the literary mercenary. And I love that to my core because that's what anybody in the gig economy is. You're
Welcome,
an
wise
artistic
guys.
mercenary. You are a writing mercenary. Pedro is the king of the animation mercenaries. Like, you know what? He's an animation assassin.
Now let's
the job.
I do want to change gears for a second, Nick, because you mentioned about deadlines getting pushed back. We've all had that. I know Pedro's had things where stuff happens and okay, well, I think I'm gonna get it done this day. Well, no, now I'm not. It's gonna be that day. Like for instance, with our RPG, got sick, couldn't do that. We were gonna launch it before Christmas to try to have it out at Christmas for everyone, but time wasn't allowing for that, and the market wasn't allowing for that. So it's like, I don't want to launch this and it fail, miserably. So and I don't want it to compete with this. So yeah. So sometimes you have to work those things, but that's where it comes down to the contracts with your collaborations. Always have a contract, folks. Always.
Because
but I do have a comment, man. I do have a comment.
Yeah.
The thing is, life sometimes gets in the way, but dude, you're always as good as your bond. And when you're facing problems, constant communication saves the day 100% of the time.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that's the thing, dude, and not only come with words, dude, this is how far I got into the piece I'm doing for you. This happened.
It's not hard to show a screenshot of where you're at. Yeah.
No, I show video. You can attest to that.
You do. Yeah. Here's what Dave says.
Yeah.
Dave says, I gladly invest more in an artist who has passion for what we make together than pay less for an artist who sees it as just another gig. And that's absolutely true. But there's also one more thing that he says I want to bring up. Yeah.
Well, there's also people who are great artists but have that Debbie Downer personality that we all love. And they may be passionate, but you're like, well.
I actually pay attention to people's social media before I hire them.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I pay attention to what they're like on social media. Because when I hire someone, I want them to be able to engage with fans. And if they regularly have a bad interaction with fans, then I don't want to work with them. In fact, I was in a collaboration that I stepped away with because half of our market that we were dealing with aligned with Comicsgate, and they did not. They were anti-Comicsgate, right? And so I'm like, look, you keep saying stuff about them, and they're giving us their money, man.
Wait. You're saying you can't bash the fans? But everything that Disney and Star Wars says is otherwise.
I mean...
Yeah, that's why they're in debt and burning now.
Let's see how well that works out for them.
I was going to say, if I could though, I was going to say, just to bring it back to the contract thing, because I'm a big stickler for contracts and communication. It's we've there's a time that this is a fun industry that we work in, and you get to create and imagine worlds, and it's all brilliant. But then there's the back end of this. It's still a business. There's still bills to pay. There's still people to pay. There's still, you don't want to sound like an arse, but there's still rules,
It's a business.
So Exactly. So I've been, I've had people in my real life kind of laugh at me for saying to people, no, sign an NDA and then we'll talk about this script.
Yes.
Sign a contract.
NDAs, yeah.
Sign a contract.
I just happen to have an NDA on file that I just send out to everybody that's going to talk about something, in detail and things like that.
If you're working on a thing,
hugely
operate
important.
like you have an NDA.
Exactly, but then you've got a record, and it's, when we do our contracts, what we tend to do as well for the people on our main continuity, once we've established that relationship and stuff like that, we're signing them up for a 4-issue deal. So they've got a great incentive to hit each of those things, because you don't hit the first one, you're not going to get paid for 2, 3, and 4, because we'll end the relationship there. So it's a great incentive to do that, and I think paperwork is boring sometimes, and I'm not a huge fan of it, but it covers your ass. You've got.
Well, let me say this: I got so good at doing contracts because I actually did the contracts for a small record label, so I had to do all the contracts for them. That was my job. Besides finding talent, I dealt with contracts, and so I actually have access and have. Let me put it this way: if you guys need a contract, just call up Luke, throw me $20, and I'll have you a contract in an afternoon. Because we've got the framework for all of these legal contracts right at our fingertips
please
now.
know Luke is
from
not
doing all that.
actually a lawyer or
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
Access to a vast bank of Mad Lib style contracts.
Yeah, these
so
are.
I just don't want.
They're all ran through a filter of a legal firm, so they have been. It's their templates. Basically, is what it is. I acquired the templates. So that's what I use. I use these templates, and they work great.
That's like selling recipes. You don't have to write the recipe. If you have access to a great hamburger recipe and you want to sell a cookbook, sell a cookbook.
Yeah,
I
like
agree.
I said, throw me $20, a couple of cups of coffee, and I'll pop in your information, and then
I feel
go.
like
Bob's your
Lori
uncle.
wants to talk, but it's either somebody keeps saying what she said, or because she begins to open her mouth and then purses her lips and doesn't seem to have a drink of the Believe cup. So Lori, why don't you throw in your 2 cents to the conversation?
The elbows, man.
I was disagreeing with Hayes. Like I work with my best friend at ASAP Imagination, and we have contracts together, and we have we're kind of like, regardless of our relationship and like the fact that like I'm in this for the long haul, it's just like we still have to do the paperwork and stuff. Like in the end, it's a business, and like friendships are important, but sometimes people fall out, and you want to cover your ass.
So you're working with your best friend. I actually stopped working with friends, but I found that I've become friends with people that I work with. Nick and I started as a business relationship. Now we've become friends. Randy and I was through business that we knew each other. Now we're friends. I think Buddy might be the only one that I'm friends with now. And when I first met Buddy, I didn't like him because I thought he was being pretentious. I didn't realize that he was actually like big brain smart. Because you meet a lot of those people, right? Like they say things and they use big words.
And he's got such small arms.
It's just such a thing to point at a Velociraptor. And it's funny because you're friends with Buddy. I actually worked with Buddy. I did a contract job with Buddy. I can't wait to see that come out. Him and Telepathic Money. But they're great guys. And I have no problem. I hate to say it, but I love to become friends with people I know I can trust.
Right.
And when you've worked in a contract frame, it's a great way to vet someone as a friend. And I know I came off kind of harsh, Nick. You nearly got late night real Nick, which should never appear on this program.
I like spicy
not
Nick.
Let him out on daytime programs.
No, we like that Nick. That Nick reminds me of
See, your actions have consequences. When you oppress people, they rise up in a fiery anger.
That's the kind of Nick we like right there.
and that does come out. But I want to clarify, with somebody like Luke has a lot of leeway with me, in part because he knows more about the scheduling of something that's crowdfunded. I'm used to the you make it, whatever you're doing, you make, you publish, you get it out there either through Amazon or I have almost a small business print shop going on in my study around me, because I used to print off all my own books, comb bind them, and take them that way to shows.
I'm imagining like a steampunk Goldberg machine around him, you know. It's got like a drawstring, you know, drawstring centrifuge to drive down the print cup.
That is not as far from the truth as you would think at different points.
Nick,
Nick,
can you print me a King James Bible?
You know, he presses the C on the keyboard in front of him, and somewhere toast is made.
It takes a lot of paper. I don't use like onion paper. I use business paper.
Guys, let's talk about this for a second, okay? I've had this comment up for a while. I want to talk about it. Dave says it took me years to build a network of creators and artists I can trust. Now that is the core from which I slowly tried to extend but always return to. I find that this is absolutely true. When you finally find your tribe or your core, you've got to keep going back to that. And that's why you see these groups, and they look like cliques. They look like, you know, but that's why you see the same artist and colorists and writers working on the same projects, you know. Yeah. So Patrick did hybrids, but he also just did the colors for Chrome Dog, which I started doing that script, writing Justin Sweets. Justin wrote Chrome Dog, brought it to me. I liked it, hired me to do the art. Okay. Brought in Patrick after trying a few other colorists. And that vetting process is so complex. And sometimes it costs so much money. And there was some mistakes made along the way, but now it's all settled up, right? But then now Patrick's working on another Arrow book. And you know what? Chances are he's going to work on another Arrow book after that too, because his price is right, his quality is there, and he's easy to work with, and he's on time. So he's part of that core. You know, it's like working with Piper as an editor and a writer. They're part of that core.
We're working on something at the moment that kind of expands from that. So we're working on, I don't think anything's been done like this before. We wanted to try something a little bit different. So having, again, organically met people from like podcasts and just other writers and through social media and things like that, I created a character called Animaltronic. So I wanted to go back to that 80s Saturday morning cartoon vibe that I grew up on. And because I'd got that with that relationship and that connection with some of these other people, so what we did is it's that idea of working with trusted and good people. But again, we've still got paperwork that we've done. But there's 9 writers, and we're just getting the artists at the moment. We've got 5 of the 10. And the project is, and I think this is like the ultimate test of trust and collaboration and things like that. So I gave everyone the synopsis, the bio, and an artist that I'd met at a con over here did the concept art. And then so I write the first 10 pages of the book. And then what we were doing was every 2 weeks, I was going on Instagram Live, and all the other writers' names were in a hat. And then I was pulling the name out of the hat of the person that had to do the next 10 pages. Game? Yeah, kind of, yeah. So then they would then have to do the next 10 pages. But wherever they ended on their 10 pages was where they ended. So they could literally, their last panel on their last thing would be, and then he said, and then the person had to then take over from there. And obviously Laurie's part of it, but also unluckily for her is the editor for it, so she's keeping us all in check. But it's this brilliant push of 100% agree. But it's this brilliant thing of all these people that I'm working with, some of them for the first time ever, and to see that one story is able to flow, for me is like the ultimate of trust. Because I'm literally taking this character and saying, go, do 10 pages. They're yours.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're just coming towards the end of the writing stage. Now we'll just finish the year. Oddly, the strangest thing was so I did the first 10 and I do the last 10. And then, as I say, we draw the names in between. and Laurie's name was in there, and for weeks and weeks Laurie was going, I hope it's not me next, I hope it's not me next, I hope it's not me next. And then as the sod's law was Laurie is actually second to last. So she's had to edit everyone, then she gets to come in, then she gets to leave me with the last 10 pages. But we were also
so you're
giving,
the call to action. I'm just kidding.
yeah, and but then we're doing, each artist gets 10 pages. And all this is for charity, by the way, as well. So even we've still got paperwork and we've still got contracts, but there's no pay. Everyone has agreed this is for charity, and this is we try and do like a book a year for charity if we can.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Especially when there's no pay, you have to have a contract in place.
Of course.
Because sometimes you get people that come into those things trying to find a way to get paid from it.
Exactly.
They'll volunteer. Like we had a guy working on the Out of Obscurity thing, trying to leverage and wiggle his way into ways to get paid. And it's like, yeah.
Well, that's what we stated. It was like these are the characters, you know, and you know, it's a charity book, but I still own the rights to these characters. I created them, and then one of the writers added 2 characters, and I said to her, like, don't, because I own the rights to this. Like, this is why I've already given the list of characters out. It was, you know, and then she went, oh no. She said, you know, and we, you know, we have record of it. But she was like, no, take them. She says they're actually my homage to you and Laura. And we were like, thank you very much. You know, but it was such a joy because again, it was the first time, you know, I'd known of doing something this way, but it has shown, one, the respect that each writer had for the person that comes after and before them, which was huge. And the other thing that was vital, everyone knew that Laurie was editing, and everyone went, you know, was ready for her edits and respectful of her for her edits, you know, and that's been key.
Again, yeah. So you want to find people to work with that. Yeah, a lot of it comes down to that. You know, can they work with an editor? Yeah, I've worked with writers. They cannot be edited. They won't be edited. They refuse to be edited. I've worked with artists that are the same way. It's like, oh well, don't tell me to go fix this or that you don't like it. I mean, ultimately, you've got to have that it's still work. It's still a business, right? I mean, it's still money being exchanged. So Marv asked us. He asked a couple questions. Let's go hit his questions real quick. What is important to keep in mind when you want to hire an artist? How easy they are to work with. It's talent. I mean, okay, talent, obviously. But for me, that's not the number one. That is not number one. Talent is not number one for me. It's how easy they are to work with. What kind of reputation do they have? Yeah. Communication and reputation. That's it all comes down to that.
I have this like old mantra that I created a long time ago called the 3 C's of life. And the 3 C's of life are chemistry, communication, and compromise. Okay?
Nice.
Chemistry is the onset energy that you have between two people. All right? And then you have communication, which is the relaying of new information, which facilitates what the needs are of each party in that interaction, that exchange. And compromise is how are you going to fill the void to each other so that there's an actual resonant connection between you.
Wow,
you know,
Velociraptor strikes again.
That literally fills everything. And when you're dealing, like I said, with an artist, you've got the chemistry. Okay, what do you bring to the table? What do I bring to the table? Let's figure that out. Okay, can I, you know, now let's communicate what that is, what you want and what I want. All right, can we make that work in a way that doesn't drive both of us nuts?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and honestly, there's a lot of people that will hire based on a portfolio, you know, or I've met artists recently, unfortunately, that they lean more on name drops and who they've worked for than what they're actually producing at the moment. And so definitely, those 3 C's work really well to answer that question. His next question is payment is, but are there things that can make a difference and make the guy, that artist, want to work with again. Yeah, the things that we've mentioned, those are the things that will make me want to keep working with those people.
I mean, if you're talking business-wise, it's like anything. It's like, do they have their own audience? Because an artist that has their own audience is worth a bit more than somebody that, you know, doesn't. I mean, if somebody like automatically brings, you know, 15,000 eyes, you know, or whatever to your project, and you know, like 1,000 early adopters, which anybody that knows the diffusion business principle means people that buy early, right? That buy into it, and they basically become your commercial and advertisement satellites for your projects. If they bring those with them, then they're worth more from a business sense. Okay, like, you know, and that's why one of the reasons why social media vetting is a big idea. Like, there was a book that came out not too long ago. It took a while to come out, and then it finally came out. It was a Lovecraftian boat thing with this guy named Alexandre Mirabal in it. It finally came out through Iconic Comics. So Long Harbor, I believe, is what it was called.
Long Harbor.
And Long Harbor is fantastically written by this Ukrainian author. I think he's Nashitobi on Twitter. Amazing guy. But it got held up forever, and it's a really good book. But one of the first things that actually brought it popularity is the fact that Mirabal's so good as an artist. He's done work for like Wizards of the Coast, for Paizo, for those kind of companies. He's done major things. You know what I mean? And on his like, what is it? Instagram had like, you know, like 80,000 or 100,000, something like that. People on it already. So even though the book was in relative obscurity, he brought his own fans. And it immediately went from nothing to like 40,000 in like just a couple weeks.
Why?
You know? And so it's
that's why we choose. That's why we choose the artists we choose for alt covers, because, you know, we expect that they're going to bring, you know, they're going to bring a bit of an audience with it as well.
This speaks to the importance.
My art brings all the bacon to the yard, and
you know, for the artist folks, this really, you know, you got to build up your brand and be consistent in what your brand is about, because. So that's a couple times here people have talked about how do you find the new people? Because that's where we can get a lot of questions. How do the new people get into this? If you're new, how do you know, what do I need to do? And a lot of it just looks like you have to build your brand and build, you know, you have to reach out. You can't. I think a lot of artists forget that they have to sell themselves as much as they sell their art if they're doing collaborations. You know, you could be the greatest artist in the world, but if somebody just comes down and lays this amazing art and then vanishes, you know, you don't know nothing about them, and you don't know how long it took, you don't know, you know.
Let's change gears a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, guys. Let's change gears a little bit. So we've talked about hiring people to collaborate with. Now let's think about networks that are already pre-existing, okay? We know there's a great network, the Indie Comics Network, that Nita Lanning is running right now. That's a part of that. There's a Rising Tide Network that's out there. That's a part of Brian K. Morris that he's built.
Mostly writers.
I've seen a lot of new guys and gals out there in comics get hooked up with the wrong players. So how do you know as a new creator what to look for on who to associate with? Who do you want to get tied in with?
Okay, so basically I think I'm a newcomer here for the faces I'm seeing. And 1, being a newcomer. 2, being from a different country. 3, English not being my first language. How you recognize which groups are good? Don't go all in with all your chips in the first move. Try small stuff. That's why like the trailer business I have for people, these are things I can dish out from 6 weeks to 2 months, and I can get a gauge of the people. Like, okay, this guy was cool. This was a little bit, and you know, like you get to know people through work. That's how I found Ginge. Like, dude, me and Ginge have an excellent business partnership, but it came out from his Spells and Superheroes trailer and how we work together. I work with Luke. That it was excellent. Whenever Luke calls me, I'm there. But I can say right now, and I'm not gonna mention names because that's uncouth. But there are people that I wouldn't pick the phone. if they call. It's just like, no, this was a nightmare. And that's how you can like gauge without compromising that much. Just get into the job environment, and you can see like the craziness will flow as soon as something goes wrong, and things always go wrong.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way. Like, that's how I do it. And
So you're talking about you're like Mike Tyson there. Everybody got a plan until they get hit in the face.
Exactly.
Yes,
And getting hit in the face equalizes you. Like, it's not about not failing. You have to fail. You have to get hit in the face and go, oh, okay, I shouldn't have said that last thing.
Well, in the game development industry, they've got a motto: fail faster.
Yeah.
Because the faster you fail, the faster you can correct it and fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, what's that? The like short poem by Beckett, fail again, fail better.
Yes.
Yep. That's what it is.
Well, I hate to add like a fourth C to Buddy's C's there, but I think one of the ones is like cut your losses. Like I think that's one of the things where like, you need to recognize when something isn't working as quickly as possible. And I know it's tough when you build relationships and when you've put out money and stuff, and you want to hang on to things and you want to convince yourself things are going to work. But I think if those red flags are there, and like I know Hades gives me a hard time for giving people more chances than I should, but I definitely I'm starting to get the point where I'm like, yeah, we gotta do what's best for the project, for the company,
I agree with you. I think it's
your sanity.
I think it's great that you were still thinking about it. It is that good. But no, there is. I think cut losses is within the compromise, and I always tell people that. I used to work with some people in communications, and I'd be like, okay, look, here's the deal, though, is that compromise is not 50-50. Like, when people hear compromise, they think 50-50. Compromise is not 50-50. Compromise is understanding what each of you need and facilitating, a basically a zero at least. You want to, you want to leave each other so that you're not hurt. You know what I mean? And so in that way, it's like, all right, sometimes if we still want to stay together, I'll give you 80, you'll give me 20. Because there are days like that where you're just not feeling it, and I'm going to do more. That's fine. And then there may be, like you're saying, like, look, it's just not working. Let's find someone else to communicate with.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, also compromise is what you expect it to bring into the relationship, and the business relationship. I mean, and dude, I was in this project. Like, it was a TV commercial. Like, I do commercials too. Like, I'm trying to avoid it because it's not fun anymore, and the money's not good anymore. So why do it? But dude, like, you're the best animator in Panama, whatever. Yeah, we're three. So
there's three of us.
Yeah, exactly.
There's three.
But
okay.
The thing is, like,
so let's.
Yeah, but I just want to make the point here. Like, the production got so convoluted because there was one lady that didn't like the way I drew. And dude, I'm perfectly fine with people not liking how I draw. Right? Like, I'm not like God's gift to drawing or whatever. Like, people can hate me. I can accept it. But she made the process so impossible that I just burned the bridge. It's like, dude, I'm definitely not the guy for this project because of this lady. And they're like, do you want me to fire her? Like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the project can be finished because you have this cog that's broken in your, and it's personal. Like, she doesn't like me, and I ended up like dropping the project because it was taking time away from people who do want to work with.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to walk away. Now let me talk about that. Sometimes you can look at. I'm not one that normally gets associated with groups or think tanks. Really, I'm kind of an independent person. I like to stay independent. I've gotten involved with Starcross Comics. That was a great collaboration, one that I moved on from. And honestly, if things wouldn't have worked out with Randy keeping Arrow going after our nap and things like that, I probably would have gone back home there, But my collaboration with Randy, teaming up with him, there are a few things where I will go be a part of it, but it's because of the like-mindedness, the creativity, the work ethic, the character of the person or the people that are involved with it. I'm a part of this group called the Genesis Crew. We stayed very quiet for a while, but people are starting to know who we are because we're making things and we're doing things. We're making moves to make our little corner of comics a better place. We're trying to create things and develop new ways of promoting and getting eyes on comics. We want to make comics better. We want to sell comics better. We want to help each other that's a part of that group to do everything they do, but better without asking anything from them, which is kind of a unique thing that doesn't exist, because there's a lot of people in this industry, in every industry, honestly, but I see a lot in independent comics, that they're more like what I would call leeches. They call themselves promoters, but they don't really promote anyone but themselves. They call themselves advocates, but they don't really advocate anyone but themselves. And so we have a lot of kind of those things that are in comics. And I don't know who's got that background noise.
It's not me. That's not a sound of nature.
It was Buddy. So, you have to. I think that one of the things you have to do is you have to vet the community you're getting ready to go into. You have to decide for yourself. You know, like even people that want to identify with, whether they want to identify with Comicsgate or not Comicsgate, anti-Comicsgate. You have to look at the people, because every little comic sphere has its people that are associated with it. You'll notice that this group of people run together, and this group of people run together, and that little group of people run together. You have to decide. You have to look at what they're producing and look at what comes out of that to decide whether or not that's something you want to be a part of. There is a lot of negativity out there. I'll say look at the track record of those people. You know, look at what they've endorsed over the years, and you know, are they endorsing anything that has been fruitful or is fruitful? You know, are they kind of what side of, you know, how much internet drama do they cause? Are they at the center of a lot of internet drama? You probably don't want to be a part of that. You know, you got to be careful when you're first stepping out, because it can make your experience great, or it can make your experience absolutely devastating. Very, very, very important. Frog G says Genesis Crew sounds like some really cool, handsome people. Yeah, there are some really cool, handsome people. Frog G's one of them. Welcome, Johnny freaking Cage. He's here today. I'm not fine with people not liking how Pedro draws. I'm not either. I'm not fine with that. Now, art is subjective. There's going to be people. So
all jokes aside, is there someone actually saying something negative about Pedro? Like, I mean,
dude, like, this was a Panamanian advertising firm, and the thing is, like, I mean, sometimes I'm told like I have an attitude problem because I don't believe in like dukes and marquees and like the feudal system. And down here, if you have like the right name and you got the right, you tend to treat people like garbage. And I don't abide by that. So
that's everywhere.
Yeah.
I've been all over the world, and that's everywhere. I've been in Israel, I've been in Japan, I've been in Germany, I've been in Mexico. It's all the same.
I've been in Alabama.
People are pricks everywhere.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't abide by that. It's like, I don't care if you're the boss. Like, I'm not an employee. And basically, you're too fucked to be talking like that. Like, that's what kind of told her.
Okay,
that didn't go well.
There are many people I will say they're subjectively wrong. I understand that art, you know, you can like art or not like art or whatever. But mechanically, even if the art style is not necessarily your cup of tea or whatever, mechanically, your animation is mind blowing, especially for one man shot. You know, and I've watched because Pedro showed a wonderful clip of some of his older stuff. With the little fat machete guy who I love.
Yeah.
I don't know him, but I stand this character. Like,
I think it's a good thing that Pedro's a little dark, because he's basically toast right now and being buttered. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
But all that said,
that's funny.
That's good. You do great work. And when somebody having a comment like this, there will always be somebody who will say, because we're talking about vetting, vet who you are getting your information from as well. Because there will be people who will come up and be like, I wouldn't. There will be some people who'll be like, so and so's a jerk. I don't like them. Blah blah blah. And politely go nod, smile, and look at what they're doing. First off, if they're talking about art, is theirs any way good enough to be on par? You know, skill wise, look at their attitude. If all they do is negative stuff, you know, it takes two to kind of tango in an argument, and you have to go, okay. You know, why are you saying this? Are they the problem, or are you the problem? Most likely. So when somebody says this, I'm sorry, I have people that I've met in this group, this circle, that I am like die hard. Don't mess with them. Just walk on by. Like nobody should ever mess with Frog G. Just don't. You know what I mean? Frog G is bangers. From where I'm from. You know?
As the young kids say.
Yes. Young kids in 1990. He's got gunners, yo.
He keeps it. He keeps it for real. No cap.
For real.
But when I start getting passionate, my upbringing shows the other side of my upbringing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get passionate when people mess with like the really good people that I know. Frog G's one of them. You can hear. Who the heck is messing with Pedro? That just instantly.
Yeah. Don't mess with Pedro.
Like I'm physically like my heart started going. You know, because like I'm protective, especially people who've put in the hours and done the job.
Oh,
so
I mean, Buddy will tell you, I got uncharacteristically outside of myself a little bit ago, going to bat for him because I saw him being taken advantage of, and it wasn't fair for him or his project or the legacy he's trying to create with it, the homage he's doing with it. I got outside of myself, passionate about it. I was mad, and you know, that was that's still ongoing. That was a fun day. Dave says
that also tells you something. When somebody's willing, it just occurred to me after I've done this, that who do you want on your side? Do you want the kind of person who's going to go, wait a second, all of the horses, why are you messing with them? Is somebody messing with them? Or do you want the kind of person who's going to, oh, yeah, okay.
Nick, did you know?
I'll use it later.
Did you know that there's people out there as early as this last week that were talking bad about me on the internet? Yes, by name, they were calling me out as being some kind of a bad person. Yeah. Do you know how much I care? I didn't lose any sleep. I don't freaking care.
That's like one of those things, though, where you say, like, you say something silly, like, I wish that every stupid person couldn't speak, and then you're like, yeah, but you realize that's like half the internet, and then it would be boring, so you can't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody can be stupid on a day.
Yeah,
anybody can have that
annoys
day where
me
they
for
just
a
walk
moment.
right into the wall and dumb.
Yeah, it annoys me for a moment, but then you have to not pay attention to it. So you're going to hear good and bad about every person you decide to try to collaborate with. Okay, but you have to look at the people that they're actually working with, and take all those kind of sources when you're trying to vet that. Dave says that he has an instance where he's working with a slow artist that just aggravates the F out of him. He likes him, so and rather than cut him, he adapts the speed of his project. And sometimes you do that. Sometimes like, okay, well they work slower, so I'm just going to get them on the work. I'm just going to push that project back a little bit so they have time to get it done. But let's talk about, now there's different platforms that you can use. Not only are we talking about collaborations with people, networks to get involved in, but there's services that you can use like printers, Comics Wellsprings, Comic Impressions, Digital Print Universe. You can find local guys. Mix'em, there's different ways to sell your books digitally. Comics, what was that other one? What's that new one?
Global Comics?
Global Comics. There's Comixology that you can get into.
ASAP Imagination.
ASAP Imagination. Well, do you sell other people's comics digitally?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you have a digital platform. So so there's all these different things that you can do. Crowdfunding. There's Indiegogo, Kickstarter, Crowdfunder, Zoop. Soon to be Fund My Comic. Oh, by the way, big announcement. First time you're going to hear it here. We expect a live site sometime the week of the 18th.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That was so quick.
Things are coming along. It is very quick. We are going
And
to be
the aesthetics that I've seen look really fantastic. I
They're
was
beautiful.
actually impressed.
and we are going to be in test mode likely the week of the 12th. So we'll be in test mode for a week, and then we will give you guys a beta site so you can start building your own crowdfunding at a 2% platform fee. So trying to save money for people. But you have to choose what platforms you use to get out there. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble. There's so many different ways to
I don't know what the
reach
return
fans.
is on Twitter I don't know what the return is since like post Elon Twitter. But the return, the ROI on Twitter for marketing and advertisement, for people that are actually thinking about putting money into these kind of projects, is lower than than basically the lower 20s of any social media. It's not worth it at all. The investment is literally less than 1 to 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your best is still Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook
Which
is
is not great.
1.37.
Yeah, which
Okay,
is
on
not
average,
great, yeah.
1.37. So if you are actually looking to put money in investment and put it in front of a bunch of people, Facebook is still your best bet. And the thing is it does follow the path of any kind of marketing. The better you make your own marketing and advertisement, the better return you're going to get, the more engagement, right?
Dude,
because
this
that's
is
really
the
what
most,
you're going for is engagement.
This is the most intelligent comment I've heard from a Velociraptor in my life. And I'm a little bit confused.
That's why they call me the Velociraptor.
Yeah, the Velociraptor.
Hojo says every new creator gets that first scar from being burned.
Oh,
It's supposed to. It's kind of a rite of passage, I guess. Unfortunately, sometimes it is. You're going to get those scars. You're gonna, I guess, fail quick, fail fast, fail faster, and fail better. Is kind of the mindset there.
I'm going the great philosophers, Chumbawamba, and they're right. Tub thumper. I get knocked down, I get back up again, I go another round. I could have gone. People would have seen it coming.
I don't know that song is what you think it's about.
Nope. I know.
I don't think that means.
I drink a Walker drink. I drink a whiskey drink. I drink.
But I like to take that one little chunk out and come back into it because I'm also the guy who heard that song for years where they were talking about standing on the railway station one toe over the line because that's what I heard and I'm like that made sense to me.
One toe, yeah. You better be careful. Be careful, you're gonna lose that toe.
That's
gonna
not
lose that toe.
But my point is, you have to get a little grizzled doing anything that you're passionate about. 7 times down, 8 times up.
You got it, Frog.
It's like a Balboa quote or something too about it's not about how hard you get hit, it's about whether or not you can get back up.
Yeah, it's that speech that Rocky gives his son.
This is the quote by Samuel Beckett. Ever tried, ever failed. No matter. Try again. Fail again. Fail better.
That's smart.
Well,
someone smart wrote that.
We are all smart enough we can look to the great minds to get information. There is a problem I see in the depiction of comics and graphic novels, and we'll say sequential art is a better term. Mm-hmm. People want to treat it as because much of it is targeted at children, that it is a childish genre. And I love that, Frog. And that's the real point. It isn't. And that's why manga is beating out Americanized comics, because they at least have the point to respect that there's more than just superheroes, and that there's, it deserves a range of storylines if you treat it like a genre.
Dude, but I call that the bane of Disney. And even though, dude, especially in my field, in animation, because, dude, like, before Snow White did what it did, because, I mean, Snow White was called Disney's Folly, animation became an infantilized art form. And I think comic books got permeated by that little, like...
I agree.
And that's a Western thing.
Yes.
In Asia, everybody consumes comics, everybody consumes animation. The stories are more sophisticated. But it's Asian storytelling, which is something that always jarred me, because I always like whenever I watch an anime film, I go home a little bit depressed. So it's not the Western hero's journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different kind of storytelling. So, for example, like Princess Mononoke, beautiful film. I feel like, dude, like there's no hope.
I mean, that's
you don't
the
feel-
censorship. I'm sure Randy could jump in on that, but that's a whole different can of worms with like the Comics Code Authority and how they basically slammed the door on like the horror comics and the kind of
EC
more
comics.
risque comics that were coming out at the time. And Comics Code Authority said, no, this will, make the children horrible because the progressive demons that we have today are better.
Let's talk about that for a second. So at a time in
But-
the 80s and 90s.
But the cool thing, sorry to interrupt you, Luke.
Go
The
for it.
cool thing about the Comic Code Authority coming in and clamping down and making all of these publishers do basic kid literature is that it was a pendulum swing that went back incredibly fast. In the 60s, you saw this great surge of underground comics come out in direct retaliation to that code. You saw the direct market spring up in direct retaliation to that distribution system, the spiral rack. The art form is amazingly resilient and kicks back for every time there's a hurdle. Somebody comes up with a workaround that ends up in the long run improving the art form. I think that's why you've got crowdfunding working the way that it is now, and you've got other people out there looking at alternative means of distributing the art form out to people. It's that kind of knockdown, I guess, in order to keep to the theme of the show. And that shows that people get back up, and it's all interconnected in an amazing chain of events, literally. Harvey Kurtzman works for EC, gets knocked down, goes out to the West Coast, starts his own magazines that he tries to get up, gets knocked down, talks to the talent that he finds out on the West Coast, especially in the Haight-Ashbury district, literally starts the underground movement. The underground movement gets sold through head shops and that, and other comic fans out there discover that market and start doing their own alternative books, and you get this great, like Bud Plant springs up, and Big Rapids distributors spring up. Phil Suling comes in, and they start their own direct distribution system. And in my
Randy Zimmerman is like the Iggy Pop of comic books.
Oh, it's so the history of this just really fascinates the heck out of me because of the resilience, the tenacity that the art form has. It's just brilliant. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I love the fact that what keeps this alive is the love for the art form.
Exactly.
A lot of people say like, okay, like the monetary gains in comics are not good. Like nobody's doing this to get rich. If I want to get rich in Latin America, I will sell drugs. That's how you get rich down here.
If I want to get rich in Florida, I will sell drugs.
Yeah, dude. I draw because I love it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll get to buy some
We're gonna blank that out. He means
It's not nerd bacon if Nick doesn't have his face in his hands.
Yeah, sorry, Nick. Sorry.
No, I mean, and that is a tragic. That's both a tragic statement of the world today and a great testament to your character.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's serious. Now I will say this because there is a major flaw that starts a cringe, tension, neck headache thing whenever I hear about not in it to make money. We should, guys. Artists should be paid. Writers.
Well, I'm in it to make money. I'm not
paid.
in it to get rich.
Yeah,
I'm in it to take care of my family. But I'm in it because I love the art form.
But I think
Love
our
comics.
monetary scale is such BS. You know, and this is a little off topic, but I really don't care.
As long as
I
you know it.
really like. I've had people, and it's a shame Glenn's not here, trying to get me to care about World Sports Ball instead of American Hand-Ache Sports Ball, and I don't. And they're like, well, you have to care because that's what the advertisers are. That's why they want us to care. They want us to watch the spectacle so we know to buy Pepsi
The
versus
stuff.
Coke or whatever. That's
Yeah,
all
I have
they
to buy
care
the stuff.
about. When like the stories that move us, the writers and the artists, they should be
It's like
getting rich.
It's like
I mean,
it's
I
like
hate
what
to say
Marv
it.
V just said. He goes, whenever they talk about Western comics being dead because manga or whatever, they always talk about Marvel and DC. They're not talking about independence.
That's
I haven't
right.
bought a
You can't
mainstream
do it.
comic book
100% right.
in ages.
Yep.
If the internet went away right now, if everything I built, if Amazon exploded, if every sales rack whatever went out the window, I have a scanner, I have a printer. I'd go all the way back to running off my own stuff and start all over
Stapling it
again
yourself, yeah.
because I never lose. That's one of those things where we're talking about failing, and we need to spin that just a bit. I never lose. I either succeed or I learn something dramatic. And if there's one thing I believe to, make your mistakes, make them, but do not make the same mistake twice. That's why, as a Christian, I will forgive somebody who messes me over or do my best to. It will take work because that's who I am. I know my flaws. It's worse if they mess someone else I love over. That's just how I am. But I'm not going to go back and work with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where we gotta, if I goof up, which I do frequently, I try to learn from it and move on. If you goof up, I can say, this is what went wrong. If I can see what went wrong, I can tell somebody, not criticizing this crash and burn because at this point, you might want to look into that. It's not a moral thing. And that's what we have to separate making mistakes from the feeling of a moral failure. Because if you try to do your best and you put out a book and for whatever reason it tanks, it gut punches you. And I think everybody needs to do that at least once in life. It's like everybody who wants to do comedy needs to go out and absolutely bomb.
You gotta get it out of the way.
Oh, you're gonna do it more than once if you do any of those kind of things.
Oh,
I mean, that's
absolutely.
basically what is it? Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius.
Right.
You're
Oh,
turning it around,
absolutely.
and you are
Hit me up
objectively
with the
turning
ethical
something
atheist.
Buddy, I like you, sir. Sir, I
All
like
right,
you.
so let me pull
Marcus
us back
Aurelius
on topic.
Seneca?
Hey, let me pull us back on topic.
Let's talk about him. Anyway,
Let me pull us back on topic, guys. So
what's funny is we were. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
Now, so when it comes to finding the things that we use, the methods, the tools, the platforms that we use, let's use a little bit of kind of Randy's history here. So in the 80s and 90s, Arrow Comics was one of the first, if not the first, fully independent publisher that allowed creators to own their own product, and they published under a banner, if you will.
Well, you had a lot of self-published guys do their own stuff back then, and you had there was a certain level of autonomy with Rip-Off Press that was working. But the big thing with Arrow is they made it a point to tell the creators that they don't control anything. All they do is get the book. They edit over the book. They control the book's release, solicitations, marketing, but the actual book itself is the creators. The property's theirs, as long as they can keep producing a product for Arrow to promote. They are in complete, they're in complete control of the product. And if Arrow can't, if they don't want to produce the product, that's their right to just take it and walk it out.
I was going to say, if I can weigh in on this one as well, because I agree with you, Randy, 100%. When I mentioned earlier about we publish for the people, we have a platform called the Any One World, so it's just anyoneworld.com, and what we do is we do the print and the digital, but the main thing is the creators maintain their rights.
Yeah,
and do not take their rights. We do not own it. We do exactly what you said there. Is we'll market it. We'll get them on podcasts. We'll make stuff for social media. Both me and Laurie have taken their physical
Essentially,
copies
you own the
to cons.
distribution rights, but the IP is theirs.
Yes,
well,
yes.
Print rights, distribution, and marketing availability, and then anything that's past that point, a very small percentage gets kept with Arrow in order to keep the company rolling, but everything else goes back to the creator. But also everybody working at Arrow are also producing their own material under the same contract.
Yeah,
and the same
simple
percentages. Yeah, it's real simple.
Now, early on, you guys had to adapt because Comics Code Authority. They're, I think when anybody does independent or underground comics, you have to adapt because there's the you see what happened with Eric July's iSong.
Yeah.
And people were, well, he's not taking the proper avenues, right? It's like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Really? Heaven forbid he's actually independent.
Yeah,
that's why they call it independent comics.
Yeah, he crowdfunded it himself or pre-ordered it himself. That if you count those numbers alone into the U.S. comics, the Western comics is looking a whole lot better than it did without including those. Now they do include Scholastics and stuff like that. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I think.
Well, that was begrudgingly too. They added Scholastic because they couldn't not add Scholastic. Same thing with the manga market. They ignored the manga market numbers for years, and then they finally said, "Well, there's actually manga out there being sold, so maybe we should count them." Yeah. After all, I guess.
So when it comes to like selling the product, how do you? What process do you guys go to choose like how you're going to distribute your book, whether it be find a publisher? If you are a publisher, how you're going to do that digitally, whether you're going to go through a company like Diamond or if you're going to try to do more direct through a website, if you're going to do digital on your own, if you're going to go comics outlet, how do you guys make your choices on what platforms you partner with to get your product in customers' hands?
For us, it was actually pretty easy because when me and Laurie first wrote our first book, so we launched the company with a comic and a prose anthology that we wrote together, and those were like the catalyst for the whole universe that we have, that we now just refer to as like our main continuity. And we were going to put it through Amazon at the time, and because of the way that me and Laurie had created the book, it was a double anthology, so you've got Points of Villainy and then you flip the book over and then you've got Points of Virtue. Which I think, if she's got a copy there, there you go. So there's that, and then you flip it over, and then you've got the other half. So
did you guys like Brian Froud?
Did you what? Sorry.
There's a artist Brian Froud. He does like fairies, and he wrote a book in the 90s, I think, called The Unseelie and Seelie Fairies. And on one side it's the Seelie, and you flip it over, and then it's the Unseelie.
Yes. Well, it was. Yes. So we did. So it's 16 stories. So it was 8 for Villainy, and then 8 for Virtue, and it was literally the timeline. So it began within Villainy. So we had a lot of fun doing this because two things really that we.
So which one of you is the villain?
Oh wow, that's the thing. So this is it. So we both wrote half, but we didn't actually tell which one. So we both wrote an equal amount in Villainy and in Virtue, but we didn't tell a lot of the stories. Like people was like, "Which ones did you write?" And we wouldn't tell them. And it was actually because of the editor, Sarah, at the time had said that our voices, as she put it, were so similar that it flowed really naturally. So we decided just to not tell anyone. We just thought it'd be fun. But the reason that it takes us, she was great editor. It really was.
That's impressive insight. I'm impressed by this. Sorry, I didn't.
She is
of course.
That really good editors are hard to find, and that's impressive.
Oh no, she's brilliant. We've been very lucky with many of the editors that we've had. But one of the things that happened was we were going to put it through Amazon, as I say, and so I'd got a print copy that had come from the printers here that we were going to use, and then we'd got the proof copy from Amazon, obviously with like the grey line across the front. So it looked fine, so I clicked accept, and then like less than 24 hours later they rejected it, and they said no. So they said we can't print this, and I ended up on the phone with them. It's Irish stubbornness, I wouldn't let go, and I said to them, and I used the exact words where I have a literal proof copy with the word proof printed on it that says you can make this. how many times do you need me to say proof? So they said no and basically change the format. So I said no. So from that point, we stepped back. We then put the print out ourselves, and then within, I think 3 months, was it, Laurie? Remember the one night where we literally figured out how to do the digital, and we worked for 16
yeah,
hours.
it was our first charity anthology we'd put out on Amazon too, because like you still kind of want that reach, because Amazon is obviously where people go to a lot for things. So we were like tempted, we wanted to like keep stuff out there, but I think we kind of got fed up, and we're just like, you know what, let's go fully independent. And I think that's kind of, I know a lot of our decisions are based on kind of our creative control, and you don't want to be that person that's like, oh, the artistic integrity, but it is, you want to like be true to your product and work with the people who are going to let you do what you want to do. So that's very much like if you start going to all these bigger distributors and stuff, you have less control. Whereas if you kind of keep it smaller and choose your partnerships, you get to choose what you want to do and keep things closer to your chest. Make your own decisions.
I'm curious, and if this is oversharing because financial, some people get very financial protected. Do you feel that you are doing financially, if not on par, as well, or even better, by running full independent with your works instead of going through the Zon or doing a hybrid?
Yeah, I would say we've got more control. So one of the things that me and Laurie do, and just quickly, Marv the Singular, yes, we do accept submissions. If you go to anyoneworld.com and check our submissions page, we run everything through there. But because Laurie and I work, as she's right, she's my absolute best friend, and we do the front-facing stuff. We write a lot together. We do a lot of the stuff, but we also do all the paperwork side of it in the background. So, but we were able to, one, keep a better kind of tighter grip on our own stuff and figure out what we can have in terms of when I've paid this much for the print, so we factor the shipping in, so we know without, you kind of don't want to use like sneak things, because obviously sometimes Amazon have changed their percentages and and it depends which country, but with us we just know it's print, we ship it, and we 9 times out it's shipped from me, but we know, and it also makes it easier when people come on board. Instead of saying it's this rate plus this one because of Amazon, and we literally go, this is your royalty percentage and this is how we do it, and then it's one contract done. And it just makes life so much simpler.
Well, there is a trade-off too, because obviously, like with Amazon, you potentially are going to sell more, but Amazon immediately takes their 30% or whatever it is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Whereas if you cut them out, you have a bigger percentage, but you are selling a little less. So it's very much it's hard to know exactly where that kind of graph falls, but we like to think that we made the right decision.
Please don't think this is part of my job is to ask. It's like the sort of dumb sounding new-ish, because I won't lie, I've published through 2 people now. I published through Amazon, well 3, about 4, because I did one thing with Drive-Thru RPG and I found that appalling. I self-published and self-print the Zon and Luke because of this right here, Hybrid Sons of Gods, the quick play role play game, which is available through LukeSunStudios.com. Anyway,
so
I reflex. Hashtag always promote for you. But I have, it's all for, as somebody who deals with Zon regularly, I'm in the middle of fighting the formatting battle for, images that they're not getting. It's white space. It may be in the bleed, but it's white space. If I shrink it, you'll tell me the print value is off. So seeing independent alternatives is very, very interesting to me. And like on a personal level, this is very tempting. Something I will probably be doing research on. But one thing I found in dealing with Luke, because Luke is really big in the Comicsgate community. He doesn't currently throw the hashtag, but he's very, very well known through the Comicsgate groups. And when you have a group like that, I find they tend to often financially offset their own.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Let's put it this way. I don't have to use the hashtag, but I've got too much CG money in my bank account to ever deny association. And honestly, I never would. The fans are absolutely amazing. They come out, they support your books, they support you as a creator. Man, when I was sick in the hospital, they were sending money to my wife to help with things that she needed. I mean, just a great community. Now, there's bad in every community that you're in, right?
Well, and from our purposes, what I was asking is, are you finding that the same thing like is happening with Luke has happened in maybe the community you're building? Because a lot of this conversation is supposed to loop back around to the communities we find. Like for some people who are politically about that, the CG community, for a lot of authors, Brian K. Morris's Rising Tide thing that he started is a great group. What you find around Luke Stone is a subset. I tend to get circles to overlap. I love to do that. So if I can bring a community that I'm part of and go talk to these people, they're awesome, and it makes the bubble bigger. That's what I do. That's literally one of my. Are you asking if
they're finding that their community is offsetting financially what they would have?
So
any losses they would have?
Do you find that, because if it is, or even if it isn't, the more involved you are with folks like Luke, we could try to bring that bubble together, and then reach out to other bubbles. And I have a dream of building a huge community where it's not me building it, but just like tying things together. Run around.
I want to say this. I know that ASAP Imagination, you guys are not affiliated with any hashtag group, but quite honestly, the truth is, the Comicsgate community, they don't care if you fly a hashtag or not. They care about good books and they care about good people, and they'll support anything. The sad part is that there's a group of people on the other side of things, the extremists, that if you don't denounce someone, then you are then them. It's like how many times do I have to say I don't like Nazis and I don't like racists? How many times do I have to say that? It's stupid that we live in a day and age where politics is overwhelming the creative arts, and it shouldn't be that way. We should have the freedom to express and to sell our books and our products to whoever we want to. And here's the thing: I tell people, if you don't like me or my politics, and you want to burn my book, go ahead and buy it, because a burnt book is a bought book.
Exactly.
Yeah, go for it. So you had to buy it. So at the end of the day, I don't really care if you don't like me or my politics. Which I'm a pretty reasonable person, unless you give me too much of a hard time, and then I'm not.
I will never say don't buy my book.
Yeah,
I would say buy it and get mad at it.
Go
ahead.
I want to pull back. We're sliding off into the self-defense mode that really isn't necessary. You've been trained.
Well, what I want to do is, because I don't want any guest that comes on to necessarily someone to associate them like, oh well, they went on Luke's CG show, so they're automatically Comicsgate. I don't want to do that for anyone.
Yes, sir.
I was going to say, when you mentioned there, Nick, about kind of crossing over the bubbles and things like that, I'm a big fan of that, because my belief system in my entire life has always been, I don't care what divides us, I care about what brings us together.
Yes, thank you.
Amen. And if we kind of tell good stories, if we can have fun doing it, I may be 42, but I'm a big child, and I like to have fun, and I like to have a laugh. And if I can do that as my day, every single day, and work with people like Laurie, who has been that literally at the side of this with me from day one, then amen, I will do that every single day.
So Jeff would like us to denounce IPAs, specifically grapefruit flavored IPAs. I will denounce it with you.
Anything grapefruit.
I'm making a beer commercial right now. I feel
so. Do you guys crowdfund your comics, or do you strictly release straight to your website?
So we have done crowdfunding, and then we've also been fortunate enough to be able to, be in a position where we've been able to start putting things out. So we, I mean, again, it's talking about failure. The first Kickstarter I ever did was for Messiah issue 1, and it failed so badly, so epically, that I joked about having more change in my back pocket than I had on donation, because I just didn't do it right. I rushed into it. It was a live and learn situation for me, and rather than get discouraged, I kind of dusted myself off, and then me and Laurie worked together and we built a better one, and we got it. And again, we've been so fortunate. We did Messiah. We wrote the book together. Laurie became, we got a spin-off character, which I'll let Laurie tell you about. It's bloody brilliant. But we were then in a position where we were able to do our own thing. So because we're able to do our own digital, it kind of goes hand in hand. So sometimes the digital can then help us pay towards the print and things like that.
Yeah. So you're saying that you're finding that you're making more money by just releasing to your site than hitting a crowdfunding?
I would say that, yeah. So like I say, a little bit of both. Sometimes, with the crowdfunding, you might get more exposure, whereas we've got to kind of do a bit, more, shove it in people's faces and go, we're right here.
You got to come do shows like this.
But you know what though, it's grand.
You got to come hang out with these lunatics.
But the thing is as well.
On behalf of all lunatics, I apologize.
But also those lunatics and other shows that we've been on have been people who we now collaborate with, and have been people who we know, we are customers of theirs, and they become customers of ours, and they become advocates of what we do, and so on and so forth. So it's like a joy, and I don't mind doing the legwork. And like I said before we came on air, to Glenn, I do these things called nomad tours, where I literally pack some freebies in a bag, jump on a train, and decide to go to a city, and I'll go and visit the comic book shops there, and I'll do all that. And Laurie, as well as, like I say, she writes, she edits, but she's also very brilliant at doing a lot of our stuff on social media. So we're not afraid of the legwork. Sorry?
Yeah, I was just welcoming another guest.
Yeah.
Another chat member.
I think that's kind of with your whole with choosing different platforms. Like, we did Kickstarter at the very start, and then I think we're kind of like we've tried going through a website, but you hit different audiences, and obviously, and same thing like this, like the whole kind of overlapping bubbles. Like, you come onto different podcasts, and if you kind of branch out between your like kind of typical people, like, oh, these people have the exact same opinions as me, you start to reach more people and make more connections, and then you can try more platforms, and your audience grows organically, which is what you want. So the more places you can hit, if you do it well, the potentially bigger your audience gets, because it's a grind getting that one fan at a time. So it's nicer if you can make friends with someone and bring some of their fans.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we that we do is, obviously those are our titles there. So all of that is in like one universe. So that kind of just stemmed from the first comic there, Messiah, and then the first book there, where there's the Points of Villainy and Virtue. And we worked hard kind of behind the scenes for like a year, and then in May of this year, we were in a position where we were like able to do one a month.
Nice.
So we started with OPSEC issue 1. So we'd already got Messiah issue 1. Then we did OPSEC. Then we did Dead of Night. Then we did Sister Grimm, which is Laurie's title. Then we did Hole, and then we've done OPSEC issue 2, and then we did Points of Villainy Part 1, which is where we were able to turn the book into comics, because some comic book shops, they don't want to stock prose, which is fine, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
So we took 12 of the 16 stories and made them. So we're doing 2 trilogies: Points of Villainy, Part 1, 2, 3, and then Points of Virtue, and they're coming out every 2 months.
Very cool.
But again, it's like talking about being at the independent side of things, like the marketing. We can have fun with. So again, if you see that grey box there where it just says Midnight Folly there, so that's a piece of music. So that's from another podcast we went on, or I went on with a guy called Morgan Quaid, and I had spoken to Morgan and said, and I'd found out he was a composer as well as a comic book creator. So what we did is he read Points of Villainy, and then he created a piece of music. So what we've done is in the inside cover of Part 1, it's there's a QR code. So you scan the QR code, it gives you that, and that music's free. So it gives you the music, and then while you're reading the book, the music is based around how he felt while he was reading it.
Oh, very
so
cool.
It's that idea of like being immersive and really like
complete
stepping
immersion.
in. Yeah. So
But that's kind of what we do with the RPG for hybrids. By the way,
Hmm.
quick plug, there's a sign up for that right now. We are launching January 10th, the full manual. Very exciting. 65 pages. 65 pages of exciting
Very
RPG fun.
One of the things, though, if you wouldn't mind, if just to show, I wanted to say something where to kind of harken back to what Nick said. If you go back to the home page, and then if you wouldn't mind just scrolling down to the Anyone World, it's right at the bottom there because it's got its own site. There it is. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind clicking on that. One of the things I wanted to say was, with a lot of people, when you're advertising your stuff and you say, oh, my digital is over here and my print is over here and my thing is over here. One of the things that we try to do, I think Bob's the best example. If you wouldn't mind scrolling down to you see Bob, Non-Union Psychic, which is just a great name for a book. It's just under Dog Eaters, there it is. And it, again, if you wouldn't mind clicking on that blue tab for me there, thanks, dude.
That is
Bob
just
Non-Union
a great-
Psychic. It's a great title. It's a beautiful book as well.
I mean,
And
just that hits my butters my biscuits, man. That is,
Yeah.
that's glorious.
It should open a tab there on the blue button, is it not?
Collection available for purchase.
Yeah, if you click on that, it should.
It took me to a
take
new
you-
window. Hold on.
Oh, there you go.
That is the hazard of StreamYard.
Yeah.
Window navigation is a pain.
Yeah, you gotta.
And
if
can
it
we
opens
write
in a
out,
new window.
I'd actually written down any one world completely wrong, but because I wrote it like the words.
Oh yeah. It's the NE1, yeah. There you go. So this is the entire Bob collection. So you've got digital, you've got print, you've got hard copy, you've got signed, you've got merch, and all of this was agreed with Lance. So we sat there and we worked together, and he said, "I want a hardcover." So we got the hardcover. I want paperback.
It'll work out for him.
Yeah, and then it's like I want digital. So you've got the full digital graphic novel there, and then as a teaser, as a a cheaper alternative to give you a taste of Bob, you've got issue 1 there as well.
Taste of Bob. Ha!
A
That's
taste
what
of
she
Bob.
said.
But yeah, and then but we agreed all of that with him. Now everything's in one place. So all Lance technically has to say is anyoneworld.com.
Is there a way to get a close up on the characters? Check them out because I'm getting this like Cyber 6 vibe I'm falling in love with. And dude.
That's the
It's like a great cartoon. It's really cartoony, but it's like violent. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really pretty.
I love
The
that kind
colors
of
in it are so
stuff.
vivid and stuff. It's awesome.
I dig it.
Yeah,
I love the cartoony violence.
Hot take. I'm kind of done with everybody drawing the 7 head tall, idealized, superhero figures. It's neat to see people who don't look like, he's got a 70-inch chest and a 25-inch waist. I'm not a superhero. Dude, you're a Dorito. You can't even come through the doorway without coming sideways.
Trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring.
Now that's a superhero. That is the character design we need, folks.
My Wolverine. Dude, like I don't know, like this is giving me like a big like Cyber 6. I don't know if you've seen that series.
Bye, Frog. You have a great day. Sorry.
Cyber 6, Tintin, like like
Yes.
it lends itself to be animated. Not that I'm putting my name out there. I'm not doing that.
By all means, do.
You get bonus points for referencing Cyber 6. I thought I misheard you at first because I think you're the only person I know who knows what Cyber 6 is. So this, yes.
You basically just click on what you want.
Yep.
And then
It's
Bob's your
yours.
non-union uncle.
Yep, there you go. Nice.
Check out with Google Pay.
Who handles your merchandise stuff?
So because I do the site through like Shopify, there were options, and then what I did was I ran through the ones that were, if you want quality, it's like quality versus quantity. Yeah, those ones are Printful, yeah.
Yeah, I love all my merch is through Printful, and they do amazing stuff.
They do,
So-
they do. There's another couple that I use for some other little bits, but for t-shirts, the quality versus quantity kind of option. The quality for their t-shirts is great. The quality of the print is great. So
My coffee
you
mugs
don't
are
mind
actually-
paying a bit more.
Actually, every bit of merch outside of the stuff that's actually printed and in stock goes there. So I like what you've got here. So people can go here and they can submit. I'm gonna go back a page, and then present again. Let's do another window, Chrome tab. Actually, let me try doing a window this time. See if it works that way. I don't know if it's gonna work that way or not. Will it allow me to? I don't know that it's gonna allow me to switch. Bob's on Union.
You can just click on home. It just takes you back to the main website there.
Yep. Okay. Home. That's where I wanted to go. Yeah. Here we go. And so you got a video.
Mm-hmm.
Does the video have sound?
No,
it's just like a slideshow.
Just plays that.
Hmm.
It's a cool slideshow.
Mhm.
But you can actually go to
Coffee Eaters was
submissions.
amazing. Just
It is.
because I was looking at your stuff because Luke sent me the link. He's like, "Oh, these people are coming. They are cool. Here's the link. Double check what you think." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh!"
Even though the guy goes by Hades, they're cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's some inside behind the scenes about really, Luke. A guy goes by Hades again. We're going down this route.
Seems like we
But I
can't
know-
escape the devil here. Yeah.
You sure you're based out of Florida and not Georgia?
Well, it's more like South Georgia here, actually.
See, there you go.
Yep.
But yeah, and the thing is, like I said, we have everything in it's like under one roof.
Here's
and
the reason why the
it's easiest
devil
way.
went down to Georgia. The devil went down to Georgia because he knew he'd better not mess around in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Like even the devil won't come here. He's like, no, I got standards. I'm out. Yeah, so you can submit. So other people can get on your store and do those kind of things.
Yeah.
This is really cool. It's neat what you're doing with all of this.
I
And,
love how clear your submission guidelines are too.
Yeah.
Super
I
clear, yeah.
was reading through that, and a lot of people will say submit here, and you have to do 3 or 4 emails just to find out what they want from you. You know,
I like this. This is a very clever idea.
Thank
if
you.
that picture will load. But
Hopefully.
a gift pack.
Yeah.
It's obviously discounted, but you get all kinds of stuff. It looks like trading cards.
Yeah,
Books.
we've got trading cards, we've got comics, badges, or buttons.
That's a beautiful
posters.
box.
Thank
That
you.
it's that's a beautiful.
that is a beautiful set out and a heck of a way if you were trying to get into stores.
Yeah.
You know, into brick and
Yeah.
mortar to just
If someone bought this now,
here's a sample.
would they get this in time for Christmas?
Yes. So
you go.
what I made sure to do was create the postage where I can literally just get it straight out the door. So because I have everything set up, I've got my office and everything here. I have a collection service as well, so they can literally get it. They collect it from my door, so I have a lot of these ready. We mentioned in comic book shops, one of the things that we do is we send something called our LCS pack to when I email comic book shops, because again, you know, Laurie will testify, you know, we've had to kind of push our way into certain kind of people's vision. But we did these things called LCS packs, and what I do is when I email it to a comic book shop, the pack contains a free digital copy of Messiah, the first 10 pages of Dog Eaters, the first 15 pages of Bob, our free magazine, our order form, and our catalogue. So that way they then instantly have something to look at, to go, you know, instead of saying, again, I used to say this thing where it's like, there's a difference between saying, I've got an idea, who's with me, and I've planned this stuff out, here it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have ideas. I'm going to pull this off the screen and stop sharing this now. I think we've got a good idea of what that looks like. This is a cool thing that you're doing here, okay? But yeah, there's a lot of people that have ideas, and there's few people that know how to translate those ideas into something functional. I've ran into a lot of people in this industry that have ideas, but they don't know how to do a business plan, and they don't know how to implement. And what winds up happening, it turns into a giant grift. You know, it winds up doing more harm than good for the industry. Randy's smiling because we've been a part of a couple of those things. One of those particular, some people might call that a failed collaboration. I call that we're victims of a crime. So there is a clear difference there, folks, between a failed collaboration and victims of a crime. So, not to spill too much tea this morning, but anyway, it's the fact that you've got the fact that you've got this going. It's like, you know, it's just like with the AeroComics.store. You know, it's an idea, but it's one thing to have an idea to do it. It's another thing to wake up in the middle of the night, buy the domain, and then build a website and have it up in a day or two, right? It's like, that's really kind of how that process went with Randy. I said, Randy, I had this idea last night, so I didn't forget. I bought this domain. So, you know, if you want, I'll make a gimmick site, you know, a little dummy mock-up so that you can look at it. He goes, look, I'm all in. Make it work.
Yeah,
and you build it and you do it. Well, you implement the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think as well, it's kind of bringing this full circle to where you find people. Like, I really think you should hear Laurie's story, because she didn't start out. I've been a comic book fan since I was 8. You know, I dragged Laurie kicking and screaming into this as a non-fan.
Well, tell me about that, Laurie. What's it like coming in as a non-fan? Coming in, slumming it with the comic books.
This sounds like a horrible story, but
No, I was like more in like kind of the novelist short story realm of writing before, and then met Hades online, and he's a comic book fan and wanted to start his comic book company, and then we wrote Points of Villainy, Points of Virtue together, and then from there, like, I was mostly just doing it to kind of support him, and just had a baby, so just, I don't know, trying to get some writing in. So, but then from there, in the story, there's 2 of the short stories are kind of linked between a daughter and a mom, and when we were trying to like line up all of our timeline and stuff, he was kind of like, this is a comic book character, you should write comic book. And it's like, no, that's crazy. But I don't know. He's convincing. No, it wasn't so much that. It just wasn't on my radar. And it wasn't something that I knew how to do at all. So I think it was kind of, it was just very outside of my comfort zone and what I had even like the kind of my vision for myself, I suppose. But it was kind of just like, I think part of the whole industry, and I guess like anything, just being flexible and kind of, if a door opens, recognizing when to walk through it. I think that it was kind of that opportunity, and now I'm in this like super fun comic book industry and get to come on podcasts and all that stuff, and I got to write a comic book, which is awesome. Like, it's cool, like learn how to write a whole new format and meet artists and meet different fans and stuff. And I think it was just something that I missed out on, and I'm so happy that I got dragged kicking and screaming. But
let me ask you this question, Laurie. Let me ask you a question. What did it feel like when the first time you picked up a comic book that's been printed that you wrote? How'd that feel?
It's so special. Like I know, like the first, like all the firsts. Like the first time I wrote the anthology with Hades was my first book, and it was special. And then the first comic book, and we have all this stuff. Like the first time I was in an anthology, like all these things. Everything's just a first, and it never gets old. It's super cool. And when people start bringing your ideas to life with their own art, and you have that like true collaboration, and they see your vision, and it's just fun. And then when people start reading, especially when you find fans that like you're just close family and friends, like when other people, you're like, oh, stranger likes this.
Right.
Like that first moment is just like, oh, I like reach someone who's just, because with family and friends, you're always like, you're just supporting me because we have a pre-existing relationship a bit, but it's cool when you start finding like the real fans and stuff. Like, I don't know, it's a high, right? I think that's why you kind of get into this. You just keep going.
It becomes something that gets in your blood and you can't leave it alone.
For sure.
I don't show my friends the things I do. Like they find out like from other means. Like, what did you tell me? Because I don't want you to like pat me on the head like that's so nice. Like, I want to tell somebody.
Pedro, that's so good.
Oh
You did such a good job on that. Way to
Ever
go.
since that you were a kid, I knew you had it in you. I knew you had it in you.
I love that for you, Pedro.
Yeah, dude. It's like no. Oof.
Whenever someone says I love that for you, I'm like I'm gonna kick you. I think I'm gonna kick you.
You know, Luke, I love that for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick you. I swear. I'm gonna drive 16 hours and come kick you right in the shin.
Yeah, there's too many.
Many
lakes.
If you drove 16 hours, I'd grab my walking stick, stand up, and hold my good leg out, and let you get a good kick in.
You would, because Nick, that's the kind of guy you are.
Yeah,
Everyone's like,
there's too many
everyone's
lakes
like,
and
when's you
ravines
in?
where I live. So people tell me like that they're gonna disappear. No.
Yeah, just don't disappear.
I don't condone that behavior.
No, but I find that it definitely gets in your. Not only that relationship with the fans and like complete strangers when they fall in love with your characters as much as you do, but there's something about holding what you've made in every new book for me that I get. Like today, I've got to go pick up books. I got to go pick up book 9, and it's the 9th one in a series. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to smell it. And I'm gonna feel the paper. I'm not going to lick it or kiss it, but I'm gonna smell it, and I get just as excited. I get just as excited about book 9 as I did book 9. Brian K. Morris will lick a spine. He will.
You will lick a spine. I don't get where it started.
I don't know.
You'll never see that on my version of Nevermind the First.
I don't know if they wanted money or they wanted something more sexual.
Right? You never know. But it really does. It gets in your system, and that comes back to the full circle about this is a love for the art form, a love for the medium, and we may never get filthy rich. It'd be nice. It'd be really nice for us to do that.
It'd be very cool.
I'm not opposed to that, but I'm going to make comic books whether I'm filthy rich or not. It's just. It's what Jack Kirby said. Comics will break your heart, kid. They will.
I mean,
I've got a lot of gray hair from Ministry and comic books, but I just love it so much. And I'm so excited for your journey, Lori, coming into comic books. I don't say it out loud usually, but I love my kids. They're beautiful. They're growing into amazing people. I love them. But I love printing new books too. I get, it's
well,
just
in a way, every book that you do is your kid.
It is, exactly. That's what I'm equating
you
it to.
You birthed it. It came out of you. It's part of you, no matter how much you want to admit or try to avoid it. And one thing I want to add to since I've got the floor, you never know. You're out there, every book, every printed book is a seed, and it's amazing. And I've been in this business since the mid 80s, so you do the math, but it's amazing now how you're seeing people come back to me, how I'm seeing people come back to me at shows. I picked up your book when I was 8. I'm in this business because I loved your book. and I'm going to stay in this business because you're an example. And it's like, well, I don't remotely look at myself as an example. It's just that, like they said in Officer and a Gentleman, I got nowhere else I want to go. I got nowhere else to go. This is where I'm meant to be. This is what I want to do. So this is what I do. And it, like Luke said, it gets in the blood, and it just doesn't wash out.
Yeah, I'm
and
not making comics.
Some things you shouldn't fight
to sell a screenplay. That's
Yeah.
what it is for me.
Yeah, that was a conversation I was having yesterday. Like now that Marvel is like basically, screwing the pooch. Is there going to be like a time for indie IPs to become movies? Like, I'm not interested in seeing like a Tropical Magics movie. I'm not.
Well, it's all transitory. It's like the California gold rush. A couple people find gold, everybody rushes out to find it.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of disappointment there. But if you're quietly prospecting, looking to look, you're enjoying the scenery, you're just out in the open wild, and you're panning a river every once in a while, and you find a couple little nuggets here and there. That's where the real reward is. That's where the life is.
The thing is, like, the way I see it with the gold rush, I'd rather be the guy selling the shovels more so than the guy prospecting. It's just like,
right, yeah.
So
well, that's where the real money is.
Yeah, exactly. You go there and be somebody,
Yeah. So I mean, I love making the comics. I always wanted to have an RPG with the comic book. I plan on eventually moving into video game, card game, board game. Nick and I are going to be working on, what we do with that, and then I want to take all the original issues and have Pedro animate them, like he did my trailer, and do voice actors. Get voice actors to do all the parts, and do little short, 10-minute animations of each issue, because I want to be able to tell the story in as many ways possible. But primarily, I love comic books, and I want to use that medium. I want to add these other things as options, but I'm not doing comics to do something bigger, to do something quote unquote better. Comics is the better for me. That's what I want.
Exactly.
And
that
gets in your blood.
We should take the Japanese model, man. Like, 'cause the things like the anime will never make money. It's the manga sales that basically make the money. And the anime, it's a vehicle of advertisement for the books.
For the manga, that's
So
exactly.
we should
Sorry to
reach
interrupt,
a
guys.
point-
Sorry to cut in. I'm just very quickly. I don't have any issues to getting them to Europe now, and I'm going to have to shoot as well in a sec. I'm really sorry. I've got to use my phone myself.
Yeah, we're running long anyway. So
Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap this thing up.
Kids I got to get back to here.
We're actually. This is the point where we start to wrap this thing up. So I think the point is, and we never really got to. We kind of got about that your dream, I think sometimes our dreams are too small. And what it looks like with ASAP Imagination is you took that dream and you realized it was just making a comic book was too small. So let's make a website. Let's make a way to sell the comic book. Let's expand this thing out and do something more. So my thing is, in 2023, I think whatever it is that you've out there have thought to do.
Or did I? I froze.
Yeah, I think whatever it is out there in 2023 that you've planned to do, plan to do a little bit more, because sometimes what happens is we don't quite hit our expectation. Sometimes we hit a little under. Something happens and it knocks us off our target. So if we shoot a little bit past where we want to be, we can either hit it or we can exceed it, and we can surprise ourselves. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give each one of you the floor to let them know kind of where they can find you and do something that's just a little bit different today. Say what it is, like any kind of encouragement that you have for going into doing this comics thing in this new year. So we're gonna go ahead and start. Let's put Pedro on the spot and let him start, and then we'll go to Hades, Lori, Randy, Nick, and then I'll close this out tonight.
Okay, so guys, like, there's so many things happening on my camp. Obviously, Tropical Magic's Kickstarter, join the mailing list. We're coming with a second chance. I mean, I don't have an avenue to sell books directly on a store, because I don't know, I don't have a place to stock them, because mailing from Panama is very expensive. So I can only do it through campaigns. And now we're doing a second chance campaign in Tropical Magics. On trailer front, dude, back hybrids. I did an awesome trailer for Luke Stone. Back Frog G, Shadow Man right now, and in Indiegogo, awesome trailer. Dude, Okuri Inu coming right up, also awesome trailer, and the book looks amazing. I think that's gonna come up next year. So, dude, be on the lookout. There's a lot of things happening on the indie scene, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it, offering my services, selling shovels.
Yep.
Nice.
Hades, where can they find you?
So anywhere, everywhere is ASAP Imagination. The only place where it's not is actually Facebook, because I can't change the name from the old name, which I'm trying to fight them on at the minute. I keep messaging. So it's under the old name, which is ASAP Comics UK, but it will be, I will try and get it transferred over. And in the new year, so we're ending this year with our last comic. This month will be Points of Villainy Part 2 again, which was written by me and Laurie. And then in the new year, we're launching a new title, and we are doing our 4-issue arcs. We have new comics and prose coming through the Anyone world of people that we've signed that are just going through editing at the moment. And yeah, we've got more things in terms of how playful we want to be with merch and sales and so on and so forth. So yeah, there's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Laurie.
You can mostly find me through ASAP Imagination too, to be fair. But I do have my own personal stuff. I guess I'm on Twitter. It's kind of my main platform. I'm at LordCon. I'm on Instagram. All my things are different, unfortunately. So I have a main website, lacunningham.com. You can just go find me, or Twitter is kind of my main thing. But yeah.
You said lacunningham.com?
Yeah, but yeah, so that's kind of like that's the conglomerate, and I have a little like side projects and stuff that's not through ASAP. But yeah, I don't know. Hades has kind of mentioned everything. We've got fun. We got big plans for 2023, and yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Yeah,
gonna be a good year for comics, I think. Randy, what's up, man?
I think so too. I think it's gonna be a great year for comics. You can find me on Facebook. If you look hard enough, I'm on Twitter, but I'm not up there very often, so don't bother. Over at the Indie Comics Network, I do 3 shows. There's Zimcast on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. where we talk about the comics and the politics of the business. Friday morning at 5 a.m. And all of these are Eastern Standard Time. Friday morning at 5 a.m. I do a show called Comics by Night, where we're looking at great comics and deciphering them through the eyes of a few experienced artists. This week we're taking a look at the back half of a Steranko Artisan book about his Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. material, and the first part's already up on the Indie Comics Network. It's a great episode. Then on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. I do the Sunday Funnies, where we talk about the books and the comics that we love and the comics that inspire us and what keeps our fire going to make even more comics. Other than that, Arrow Comics, arrowcomics.store. There's stuff up there now available for purchase. There's more stuff, a lot more stuff coming. 2023 is going to be huge for us up there. You're going to see a lot of stuff, old and new, added up there. That's all just great entertainment, and we can't promote it enough. We got to thank everybody that's already gone and visited the store and are purchasing.
Already making sales over there.
Already making sales, and we hardly have started to stock it. So thanks everybody. And if you want to read some of my work, I've got a book available over on Amazon called War of the Worlds Infestation, available through Caliber Press, that you can purchase a hard copy of or a digital copy of. It's an updating of the novel, The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. 100 years later, the Martians have kicked the bacterial problem and are once again invading the world. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
So it's a great title. Other than that, Arrow Comics. We're dropping the 4.0. We're going to be Arrow Comics from now on. And we're looking forward to a great 2023.
What, 13 releases next year?
Awesome.
I think.
I think that's just the tip of the iceberg there.
Tip of the iceberg, yeah.
You're going to see a lot more stuff. I've got books to finish. I've got a bucket list that I got to get done. So that's what I'll be working on when I'm not doing regular commercial work. If you're around the Mid-Michigan area, swing by Formar Nature Preserve up in the corner of Bristol and Genesee. I had in the spring, summer, and fall. I have a nature trail up there made of 13 different signs. I have a team of superheroes called the Preservers, where you can learn a little bit and have a great superhero story and a fantastic walk through the woods. So swing by if you're in the area. That's Formar Nature Preserve.
Nice.
I got to do a video on that just to show it off a little more. So and thanks everybody for having me on.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, guys. I'm gonna go, but it's
I'll
been a
shut
joy.
up.
We really appreciate it.
Hades, it's great meeting you.
And you.
Best of luck with ASAP. That's good.
And
Thank you.
hit me here because I want to spread more of your stuff around.
Thank you. Will do. Absolutely.
That's what.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right, Nick. What's up, man?
All right. I'm Nick Tucker, freelance author, artist, sword master, a game designer, and retired paranormal consultant. You can find all my links at www.nicholastucker.com. That's where you'll find a link to my DA, to my assorted YouTube accounts, and to my Amazon, or just look under Nicholas Tucker. I have way too many books coming out in the very near future. I'm halfway through putting out my Art and Tales book, fighting the formatting. But right now, what I want to talk about, instead of my usual plugging stuff, is every year I put out, there's a group I keep in Facebook called the Saint, in parentheses, Nick's Creators Christmas Mall. And the purpose of that is for folks who are on Facebook, it's a public group, to link their small business creative stuff. So everything that you've seen here would belong there. So that when you're looking to buy stuff for Christmas, instead of just going to the Zon or going to Walmart, you can go to small businesses and buy, from small creators. You can host, your stuff is then promote, there too, so that they can find it. I got the idea to do this group from sitting we've all been at a gaming convention or a comic convention where it's either real early or real late, and all the vendors are running around basically buying from the other vendors. I mean, we've all done it. So I want to put a place where that could be done any time of the year, and especially around Christmas, to remind folks that shopping small gets you better stuff and supports the independent people that I am so passionate about, be they authors, comic book creators, people who sew and make amigurumi like Cindy Kep, all these people. So please, if you're on Facebook, go to that link. This isn't me trying to push myself. This is me trying to get you in a place where you promote yourselves, because that's kind of what I'm about. Broadcast-wise, you can find me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 till 11. It usually runs a little later, but that's about it. On the Nicholas Tucker channel on YouTube, running Never Mind the Furthermore, which is a conversation show that's a little less spicy like this, for artists, comic book creators, independent folks of all breed to come and meet and discuss what makes it better, what we've been going through for education and motivation. Friday nights, I run the Historical Fencing Guild Historical Fencing Guild live stream on YouTube on the Historical Fencing Guild channel, where we talk about how to sword fight, review gear, talk about techniques, criticize movies, have a lot of fun. Once in a while I do meme reviews, things like that. You can see that 8:00 p.m. Friday nights on the Historical Fencing Guild. That's Eastern time. And most importantly for this conversation, I'm right here. Really, I know last 3 weeks have been a little weird between things, but you'll find me right here on Nerd Bacon at 9 a.m. trying to get my voice to work. Luke's bro host. I'm starting to sound like Luke today.
Yeah. I always get real rough by the end of the show. That's how I know it's time to close.
Yeah.
I'm like, look how rough I sound. Yeah, that's when I know it's time to go.
Luke, you could have been a contender.
I could have been a contender. Yeah. Nick and I have got big things coming up. The full RPG. I'm very excited about that. We're going to be releasing more images from that, little page shots. We were working with a very talented layout guy. He and I are tag teaming that so that we can get a very beautiful layout finished and wrapped up here in the next few days on that, in a few weeks. It's, I mean, beautiful. It's just the content that Nick created for this RPG, guys. I'm telling you, it's so good. It's so good. It's to the point. It's beautiful. It's it's gonna be a fun game for you guys to play. It's gonna be right in the mix of the hybrid universe. This takes place right in between Volume 1 and right at the beginning of Volume 2. So kind of in that area, you're going to be able to see just some. The cool thing is you're going to be able to get those books with the manual. Plus, you're going to get part 2 of the quick play. Man, I'm telling you, it's so exciting. This is part of what I've been working for a couple of years now, and I'm vibrating with excitement about the
It'll
book.
be
about
like
the
this,
release.
but thick.
But thicker.
And you know me, I like them thick. I
Yes.
like thick books, and I cannot lie.
And it's going to be red, so it's thick and red.
It's going to be
You
a
like
redheaded
it.
thick book. I'm
Yeah,
on
it's
board.
redheaded. So very excited about that. We got a lot of books coming out next year. Got a lot of things happening. Please go by LukeStoneStudios.com. Sign up for the mailing list. All the important links are over there. I'm on social media, and I am a part of a kind of a conglomeration called the Genesis Crew, and we are working to try to create a better network for advertising and building up other creators, because we really do believe that if we are working together and each person has a solid platform in and of itself, that everybody working together can really be successful. And we are going to be doing some simulcast campaign launches that's going to go out on multiple YouTube channels, so that we can get as many people looking at campaign launches and closes as we possibly can, because we know that the first week and the last week are the most important part of any one of these campaigns. The middle kind of lags a little bit, but we're going to do what we can. We're going to try to more than bacon wrap some of these campaigns. So a lot of big things coming. Fundmycomic.com will be live very, very soon, and so we'll be announcing more about that. And I can't wait, man. This is 2023. We're dreaming big, dreaming bigger than I've ever dreamt before, guys. I've never put this much effort in. I've always been very conservative with it.
Year. This is going to be the decisive year on. I hate to say it, if a lot of our dreams can come true how we want or not, and it's at the end of the day, we're folks. All the folks here are putting in the effort to make superior grade things.
Yeah.
I mean, everything Pedro puts out is high quality. Everything Randy's about is high quality. Luke will not tolerate less than high quality, and you know me. By now you know what I'm about. I'm completely transparent. It will be on you guys, the wonderful viewers, and frankly, the customers, the folks who come out. If you want to see independent comics get their own games, this is the time to step up, because this is going to make it or break it, and it's going to, at the end of the day, be on you guys whether this dream can work. I know
We're building
that's
it for
a
you,
heavy,
folks. We're building it for you.
but that's the idea.
Yeah,
I
I'm truly
want them-
excited about it.
I want them to be able to walk in the Hybrids universe, because when I read that book, this is the first comic book I read, I hate to admit this, in quite some time that I truly enjoyed. Like, when I got a hold of the first Hybrids book, I was like, oh my God, comics can be fun again? I mean, it was one of those mind-blowing moments where I hadn't had that much fun since I was sitting watching X-Men with the da-na-na-na-na, you know what I mean? And I swear, I'm opening this book, and I know it's a little plagiarizing, but I could hear the X-Men theme, like, in my head when I was opening it, because it was that, oh, stuff's happening. Okay, let's go. And then to see where Luke has gone with it, I'm like, I want to be part of this universe. And because of the quick play, because of the little add-ons I put into the book, there's some new characters that I had the privilege to design you won't see them anywhere else yet. They're from farther down the line.
Yeah.
If you love
honestly, you got to play this game, guys, because here's the deal. There are Easter eggs on both sides. There is a character I created for issue 6 because of what Nick did in the quick play when he was building it. I was like, it's got to tie in. And so the two worlds, you can play in this. I mean, it's amazing. And the best part is Lockdown Games is going to be a thing next year as well. So we're going to have even more games that are going to be produced. I can't wait. Between what everyone here is doing, and I'm telling you, Arrow Comics, Randy has got a vision. He's got vision out the butt, so just go with it. That's what I'm saying. Some of the books.
I don't know if I would have phrased it that way, but yes,
absolutely.
Randy has a visionary derriere. We'll
visionary derriere. But yeah, it's I'm telling you, it's really cool. Definitely go by the store and start grabbing some PDFs so you can read them today. But books that we have are, I mean, I know all of mine that I have here are shipping and will be delivered by Christmas, as long as you order by no later than the 15th. We'll get them in the mail by the 15th.
Aerobot 02 is at the printers right now.
Yep.
Can't wait.
You know what? We should do something the day before the last call for Christmas. I'm serious, Luke.
We should, like a big stream.
What day?
Last call for it'll be the 14th. The 14th.
It'll be the 14th. That's a Wednesday.
The 14th of.
Well, it's.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday. The 15th.
It's 6 days.
The 15th. The 15th is
next
the last.
Wednesday.
Next Thursday is the absolute last day that I can ship and get there by Christmas. Yeah.
Hopefully.
So that's the last day you can buy from the website.
So either we need next. We need either next Nerd Bacon to be really short so that Luke can get back to packing, or really like the Nerd Bacon telethon. Friends, colleagues, now we're going to ask you to pass the collection hat around so we can help you help yourself have a better. I do believe we can build this up.
Have you bought your book today? Buy a book. Buy a book for a friend. I'm telling you, great Christmas gifts, great stocking stuffers, guys.
Buy an extra to prop up your table. You'll never.
But guys, as always, we want you guys to create. Go out there, be creative today. Build something up. Build up more than you tear down. There's plenty of jackasses out there tearing everything down, trying to insult people, trying to just build themselves up and nothing else. And they'll tear anything down at all costs just to promote themselves. We're saying build something, create something, make it to where they cannot deny you. I'm telling you folks, do that. Leave the woodpile a lot higher than you're finding it. Make this world better for somebody. Make it a little more fun for somebody. And by all means, you know the drill. Be careful out there.
Let's be careful out there. Let's be careful out there. We had a 187 at the 7-Eleven on the corner of 4th and Main. 2 Caucasians of the male persuasion put a bullet through the cashier's brain. Moving on, I see a 211, half a dozen 459, 2 AEWs, a GTA, and several miscellaneous crimes. Homicide.